Orleans. 90 degrees outside, but a pleasant 72 degrees for indoor football. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tim Ryan with Terry Bradshaw here at the Superdome. And Terry, the red-hot Redskins come in here at 4-0. If they win today, it'll be their best start since 1978. Jay Schrader doing the job at quarterback. A tough defense, especially in the second half, under the direction of Larry Peccatello and Richie Pettibone. They've been outstanding. And in the second half, one of the several problems the Saints have had so far.
Well, the Saints, Tim, have had leads going into the second half, but they've not maintained those leads. They've only scored 14 points in the second half. The Redskins have only given up 16 points, so they've had their problems. Coach Moore says it's time to make adjustments. Is trying to find the right combination. At quarterback this week will be Dave Wilson, a former starter who lost his job in training camp to Bobby Hebert. Well, Hebert's out with a broken foot. Bill Conn's at left tackle. He's playing in for the injured Dombrowski, #1 draft choice, out with a broken foot. But the bright spot today, Tim, will be a young running back, Reuben Mays from Washington State, 84 and 85, Pac-10 rushing man, big guy, 357 yards in just one game. They say today that he will give the electricity, the excitement that the Saints offense needs.
Well, they will need some excitement because offense has been a problem for them. They are last in the NFL in that category and last in defense as well. And Joe Gibbs and his Redskins are coming in here on a roll on the road. 6 consecutive road victories. And so that presents some bad news for the New Orleans Saints. Morton Anderson will kick it off, and Ken Jenkins, the fine return man, along with Keith Griffin. You can see a 20.3 average for Jenkins, a man they re-signed this year when Kelvin Bryant went down. And Jenkins, fitting into their plans as a return man, has done very well indeed. So the Saints will defend to our left in their home black uniforms. A new look this year in terms of the design of the uniforms for the Saints under a new head coach and a new general manager and a new owner here in New Orleans. Jenkins deep in the end zone, will not bring it out. And so the Redskins will start from their own 20-yard line. Coming in at 4-0 with a victory over Seattle a week ago, 19-14. And Jay Schrader has been one of the primary reasons the Redskins have been so successful this season. He will face this defensive squad: Bruce Clark, Tony Elliott, and Jim Wilkes. A pretty solid front three in the 3-4 defense. Ricky Jackson, an authentic superstar. The little guy, 5'9", Sam Mills, with Alvin Tolles and James Haynes. Waymer, Poe, Antonio Gibson, the hard hitter from the USFL, with the veteran Frank Watler. And the Redskins come out with Warren lined up on the wing right. One setback is George Rogers, and they want to throw. Schrader, a low ball, and it is incomplete. Intended for Gary Clark on the right sideline, but he couldn't gather that one in at 2nd and 10. Offensively for the Redskins, Schrader the quarterback, Rogers the running back, Monk and Gary Clark, both with 20 catches each. Clint Didier, a fine pass-catching tight end, and the blocker Don Warren. Joe Jacoby, Russ Grimm, Jeff Bostic, Raleigh McKenzie for the injured R.C. Thielman, and Mark May across the front. McKenzie is starting now his 3rd game for R.C. Thielman, the former Pro Bowler who has a sore knee, and McKenzie is going to be hard to dislodge when Thielman's ready to go full tilt. He played well at right guard, Raleigh McKenzie. 2nd and 10. Sideliner again, and went right back to the same play, and this time Schrader got it up too high for Gary Clark.
One of the things, Tim, that Joe Gibbs had told us yesterday that they like to do with Schrader is throw the little hitch pass, a little 5-yard hook. And he said he throws it well, and it's been a big play for him. That time it was thrown too high.
So it'll be 3rd and 10, and the Saints will change up defensively. There's Joe Gibbs with his impressive record of 61 and 24. Calm, solid coach who lets his assistants do their jobs. He likes the offense, and he leaves the defensive coaching to Peccatello and Pettibone. Swilling and Jakes have come in defensively for the New Orleans Saints. A deep drop this time by Schrader. Has lots of time. Intended for Clark. He went down and is claiming he was tripped by Johnny Poe. And he's unhappy, but the official closest to the play didn't see it that way. So the Redskins will have to punt.
Low pass that time, leading Clark inside. Poe actually had his left hand on behind Clark, had his hand on him, Tim. But what happened, what the officials saw was Clark falling down low for the ball, and they say therefore it's not interference.
Steve Cox, the punter, had a 58-yarder last week in addition to a 57-yard field goal against Seattle. Eric Martin is back waiting for it at the 30-yard line. Ball hangs up some, and it comes down about the 42, but takes a Washington bounce and goes out of bounds at the 34-yard line of the Saints. 47-yard punt by Cox, and Dave Wilson comes out at quarterback in his second start of the season. Bobby Hebert going down with a broken foot 2 weeks ago. Wilson the starter last week in the losing cause against the Giants, a game in which they led 17-0. Defensively for the Redskins, Steve Hamilton for the injured Charles Mann. Butts, Hamill, and Manley across the front. Linebackers Monty Coleman is back in with Olkowitz and Malott. And the secondary, Green and Dean, Coffey and Jordan. First down. Dave Wilson. In motion is Eugene Goodlow. And this is Reuben Mays, his first start. And not a very nice welcome from the Redskins, who met him in the backfield, and it was Dexter Manley, number 72, the 6-year man from Oklahoma State. It'll be a loss on the play of about 2 yards. Dave Wilson, the quarterback. Reuben Mays with Buford Jordan, the fullback. Eric Martin and Eugene Goodlow are the wide receivers. Across the front, Bill Kontz getting his first start last week with Brad Edelman, Steve Port, Ralph Williams, Stan Brock, and the tight end John Tice for the injured Hobie Brenner. Brenner in uniform with his left hand in a cast from a broken hand suffered last week. We don't know how much action he will see. Tice starts. Second down and 12. Wilson to throw, has his man. It's dropped by Eugene Goodlow. Goodlow, the pass perfect for him, but he dropped the ball, and it'll leave 3rd and 12.
One of the things that Wilson needs to happen for him early in this football game is these passes should be caught. It's good for your confidence. That time Goodlow wide open, goes down, little zone, soft. He turned around in the open area. Wilson hit him with a football. Bad hands. He dropped it.
Marcus Cook comes in defensively on the front. Barry Wilburn and Tim Morrison in the secondary on a 3rd and 12, passing down for New Orleans. Cook dropped by Wilson, and he's got Goodlow, drops it again. Now that pass a little bit behind him, but nonetheless, you got to catch him. He was in first down territory. Had he stopped and caught the pass right there, they would have had a first down.
Redskins came out with both outside linebackers, blitzed them both, isolated their wide receivers on the defensive backs, man-to-man, ran a crossing route and switched up the coverage. Goodlow gets inside, wide open, ball just a little bit behind him.
Vernon Dean is the injured Redskin down on the play. Might have gotten caught in a switch out there as there was a collision at near the point where Goodlow was about to make the pass.
That's what happened, Tim, with the crossing routes by the receivers. The responsibilities of the corner is to stay with their man, and it's actually a self-made pick. That time Dean got caught in the scissors.
And the trainer's out there to attend to him. You know, Dave Wilson here's had 2 passes dropped on him. He's not had a lot of luck since he came over here out of Illinois. In 1981, he had Archie Manning to contend with. Wilson was the #1 pick that year. Didn't expect to play behind the superstar Manning. And then in 1982, he had a knee injury. In 1983, Kenny Stabler arrived under Bum Phillips. 1984, Richard Todd arrived. He split time with Stabler. Meanwhile, a shoulder injury to Wilson affected his opportunity to get into the mix. Last year, he got to start 10 games finally, and then Bobby Hebert came in from the USFL. So Dave Wilson has not been a man who's had a lot of opportunity. And in the preseason here, as we see Dean up and heading to the bench, apparently all right. Wilson got into a fair battle, as he called it himself, against Hebert in preseason. Hebert was the pick and wound up getting hurt in game number 2. So the opportunity now once again for Dave Wilson. Brian Hansen, the punter. Ken Jenkins, the return man, standing at the Washington 29-yard line. Brian Hansen with a 44.1-yard punting average. I'm sure he likes to kick indoors here. Angles that one off to the left side, taken at the 30, dropped by Jenkins, but he covers there. There'll be no return. Normally sure-handed Ken Jenkins, a 38-yard punt, but no return, leaves Washington first down at their own 30-yard line. Jim Mora looks on with some apprehension as the Redskins will have the ball again. We'll be right back. Superdome, 72 degrees indoors, 90 degrees outside. And you can see the New Orleans offensive squad now starting to get organized for their next series of downs. Neither team able to move the ball on their first possession. The Redskins starting from their 30-yard line. Jay Schrader passing at 51%, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And And the big man Rogers making his return here to New Orleans. Gets to the 34-yard line. George Rogers, the main man with the Saints, 4,267 yards from 1981 to 84. Traded to Washington by Bum Phillips and company for a #1 pick who turned out to be Alvin Tolles. Tolles did not start very often in his rookie year last year, the linebacker, but he is the starter today. Second-year man from Tennessee, 6'1", 227-pounder, number 54. Second down and 7. Now let's call it a long 6. And all kinds of movement along the ball, flags everywhere. The ball never came up, and we may have illegal procedure.
Ball start, number 63, second down.
That is Raleigh McKenzie, the right guard. We mentioned starting for the injured R.C. Tillman, making his second consecutive start. Second-year man also from Tennessee, along with Tolles of the Saints. Raleigh McKenzie, his twin brother is Reggie McKenzie, the linebacker with the Raiders. Last year they were both in their first pro camps and both wore number 94 and both hoping the other guy was going to make the team, and they both wound up making them, that's for sure. Reggie became a starter for the Raiders, and now here's Raleigh. 30-pound differential in weight for the twin brothers. Kind of fun. 265 is Raleigh the guard. Schrader under pressure. Can't find an open man. Throws it off, intended in the general direction of Didier. But it was James Gethers, number 97, third-year man from Wichita State, putting the pressure on him.
One of the things you like to do with a quarterback with the agility of Schrader, Tim, is get him out of the pocket. Not only do you utilize his strength and his quickness as an athlete, but you get away from the pass rush. That time, a good outside containment by Clark, the left end, and then Gethers coming in from the right side is the man that really put the pressure on him.
It'll be third down and 11. Schrader so far 0 for 4. Tight end Didier moves to the wing right. Gary Clark out to the left. Monk split wide right. Lots of time on this down, and it's complete to Art Monk for a first down. Washington at the 42-yard line of the Redskins. Driven out of bounds there by Dave Waymer and Van Jakes.
Waymer said the thing I like about the new defense is the opportunity to play tighter coverage. More man-to-man gives us an opportunity to make bigger plays. So far, 2 interceptions this year. As you see, isolated man for man on Monk. Monk drives him deep. As soon as he gets Waymer to turn his shoulders and hips to expect the deep route, Tim, he breaks it off underneath, Monk does, and then the quarterback lays it right in there.
You mentioned 2 interceptions by Waymer. The one category the Saints have excelled in, 12 interceptions to lead the entire league in that category. But otherwise, they are dead last, offense and defense. Rogers plowing straight ahead, picks up 7, maybe 8 yards, depending on the spot, getting near midfield. 5'9" linebacker from Montclair State in New Jersey.
Had a good opportunity to talk to Tony Elliott, a big man, about 6'6", 290. And I've never seen a big man so excited about playing against a great back like Rogers. He said, our defense is going to hammer him. Ricky Jackson and Clark said, we're going to hammer Rogers. Well, it's a long way before this game's over.
Second and 4. Rogers is very much looking forward to his return. First time playing against the Saints since the trade. Monk in motion. Rogers again. Running behind Kobe and Grimm. Loose ball recovered by the Saints. Scrambles for it. Let's see, when the Redskins might have got it back. They did.
Poe came back inside. I thought Johnny Poe had made the recovery, but evidently he fell over the ball and it was knocked out. And Russ Grimm, 68, comes in and makes the tackle.
Russ Grimm came up with a fumble recovery on the play, and it was a real good opportunity for the Saints to come up with a turnover.
As you can see, they're pulling everyone angle lined, and Elliott, 99, the nose tackle, reads the angle, comes back, cuts across, and gets his helmet on the football, knocks it loose. Poe goes for it, number 25, 9, and he misses it, then Grimm recovers it.
So the Washington Redskins get a break, and they have the ball now at the 43-yard line of New Orleans. Schrader with a little roll. He has his man at the sideline. That is Gary Clark, number 84.
Talking to Gibbs, Coach Gibbs of the Redskins, he said, we will show a lot of formations, but we will run the same plays. Every week we change the formations, but we run the same plays. That time a play they had run earlier, but from a different formation. Go inside, you read the slot guy, he's covered, you go outside. That time the slot man was covered. outside to Clark for the completion.
12-yard gain and a first down. Washington at the 31-yard line of the Saints. Rodgers the lone setback. 2 receivers out to the left. Didier with a little juking there to show the motion. And a misplay between the center, Bostic, and Schrader. And again, the Redskins survive with Russ Grimm again coming up with a loose ball. Well, I tell you, without old Russ on this series, the Redskins would be playing defense.
Tony Elliott evidently has really given the center Bostic some trouble, because a nose tackle into 3-4 can drive you crazy. Elliott driving off the block, but actually it was a good exchange. It just dropped by Schrader that time. And once again, Grimm, 68, he makes the recovery. Nose tackles into 3-4 really force a lot of problems.
You know, that takes me back to our game in San Diego with the Redskins, though, and Dan Fouts talking about the center having to play on the 3-4. We'll come to that, because it does create problems for Bostic, as you indicated. Straight drop, the screen pass, taken by Keith Griffin. Griffin gets away from one man and picks up about 9 yards. He'll be inside the 25, close to the 23-yard line. Vaughn Johnson, linebacker number 53, made the stop.
This is a combination route where the quarterback reads the linebackers. If they come up, then he'll go deep to the tight end. But this time they drop off, they let him rush, then he drops it off to Griffin, who makes an excellent move on Poe, and then gets down about a yard short of the first down.
Remember Don Masick, the center, saying that Dan Fouts, ride with me. I got that guy right over me. That
really?
means you got to stay right on the ball, make sure that you get the good exchange, get down nice and low.
The tougher the nose tackle, the lower the center, the lower the snap.
We'll be watching for that. It's 3rd and a long 2 for the Redskins. And the give here now to Rodgers. He has a first down inside the 20. The Redskins rolling. Tolles and Mills, the 2 inside linebackers, 54 and 51, make the stop.
Rodgers said when he was playing here with the Saints, he told the defensive players, he said, I would love to play against you guys. Well, he didn't realize that he'd be traded to the Washington Redskins and have the opportunity. And so he calls Jackson. Jackson says, we're waiting on you. And he says, okay, I'll be there.
Ricky Jackson and Rodgers were good pals, used to hang out together, as George put it. And Jackson said, I'll be ready for you. This is the 10th play of this drive. They survived 2 fumbles. Schrader, a near sack on the run. He can ramble. Out of bounds at the 13-yard line, make it the 12 of the Saints. James Haynes, the linebacker, had a shot at him back there, number 92, but Schrader got away.
Trying to hit his tight end, Didier, down the middle. Didier came open late. He stays with him. He came off. He sees no one open. Now the pressure hits him. He pulls away, gets outside. Van Jakes putting the hustle on him. Big, strong guy. It's amazing. Okay, there's Clark, his secondary receiver. Clark gets knocked down by Poe. Actually, the guy he wanted to go to was going over the middle, and that was tight end Didier.
2nd down and 3 as Schrader has him at the 12-yard line. Rodgers straight ahead. Appears to have the first down yardage, running behind Grimm, Bostic, and Raleigh McKenzie right up the middle. Ricky Jackson and Frank Watlett on the tackle.
George Rodgers, a different man, having an opportunity to talk to him when he was a Saint, having an opportunity to talk to him now as a member of the Redskins, a totally different person. Yesterday, laughing, cutting up, happy. And I think that probably is the best word to use right there in describing George Rodgers. He is a happy person.
Rodgers has the Redskins at the 9-yard line. 1st and goal. Their 5th first down in this drive. Monk in motion. Starts back to the near side. Rodgers takes it the other way and gets inside the 5-yard line.
Excellent job by Russ Grimm, the left guard, as he goes, pulls outside, kicks out the linebacker, and then George anticipated that and cut back inside. Not to completely dominate Rodgers here, but the thing that is really unique about Rodgers is he actually lines up to him about a yard deeper than Riggins did. And the reason for that is because he was quicker and he got to the ball too quick from 5.5 yards. So he got 6.5 to tie in his blocking with his lineman.
And it's been effective for him. Took him a little while to figure out the timing and adjustment, but George acknowledges, yeah, I get there real fast. I just start from a little deeper. And here he is now, trying to get wide and bulls his way into the end zone. Touchdown. George Rodgers Some applause from Redskin fans here at the Superdome. There are some of them, and Washington takes the lead on their second offensive series, surviving 2 fumbles. They have it in the end zone.
Earlier play going to the right. This time it's going to the left with McKenzie, 63, leading the way. He kicks out on Antonio Gibson. Kicks him out just enough. Gibson inside. Poe. Gibson try to make the stop too late as Rogers gets in for the touchdown.
From 4 yards out, and Rogers with 31 yards rushing on 7 carries here in this first quarter of play. Mark Mosley with a point after. And the Washington Redskins, trying to get to 5-0, which would be their best start since 1978, have taken the early lead. 6:42 remaining first quarter. Tim Ryan and Terry Bradshaw, we are back at the Superdome. 6:42 to go here in the first period. The Redskins on top 7-0. An impressive drive, 70 yards in 13 plays, picking up 5 first downs along the way, and number 38 taking it into the end zone. As Terry Bradshaw said, a happy guy when we talked to him yesterday after the Redskins arrived, and I'm sure he's feeling good about scoring the opening points here against his old teammates.
A play made famous by Riggins, the old counter action to get the linebackers and the defensive line going one way. Mark May, tackle, a right tackle, and Raleigh McKenzie, the right guard, both pulling outside, doing a good job. And then Rogers reads their blocks and cuts inside to get the touchdown. It's an old play. It's a play they had run twice already. This time they turn around and went to the left side. Evidently they feel like that's where they need to run to get in the end zone, and they did.
And there's the drive. The deep man for the Saints will be Mel Gray, and Mel Gray with a 101-yard return against San Francisco already to his credit this year. USFL refugee over the 20 to the 21-yard line, stopped by Alvin Walton, rookie defensive back for the Redskins. Walton getting some regular time last week when Coffey was hurt for Washington. There's Jim Moore, the young head coach, had been the defensive coordinator with New England until he got the job in the USFL, and a distinguished career, 2 championships to his credit in the USFL. And now hired by Jim Finks, the president and general manager of the Saints, here to become the head coach of this franchise, still struggling to find itself a playoff for the first time. This is Reuben Mays, and he has a first down over the 30-yard line. Mays out of the backfield, Ken Coffey on the coverage.
You like to run these plays on first down to get an idea of what the defense is going to be, this time anticipating a zone. As you can see, Wilson coming back, a small play action. Linebackers are dropping deep, so he sends May underneath the linebackers, hits him with a 4-yard pass, and then the rest is left up to Mays as he does a good job of getting the first down.
Now, hockey fans in the Washington area looking in today will know that North Battleford, Saskatchewan is the home of Emil the Cat Francis, the general manager of the Hartford Whalers in the National Hockey League, longtime the New York Rangers. That's the hometown of Reuben Mays. Here he goes. Mays has a good hole and turns it upfield to the 49-yard line, pushed out by Curtis Jordan. And believe me, this young man can move it. 17-yard gain for Mays.
The key is left tackle Bill Kontz, number 70, as you'll see him pull all the way around to the outside. Mays gets on his hip pocket. Now there's a kick out on Coffey, and the rest is left up to Mays. Okay, now he's by Green. Now it's a foot race. And then finally, number 22, Curtis Jordan, knocks him out of bounds.
Buford Jordan comes out. Dalton Hilliard comes in the backfield for the Saints, number 40. The number 2 pick from LSU had been the starter in the running back spot. Now they've got him in there together. And Morris said we'd see some more of this today. Wilson has a man open, and it's caught by Mike Jones, the former Viking, for a first down at the 31-yard line of Washington.
Tim, the thing that the Saints are anticipating is zone coverage, and you can see right now that they want to attack it by throwing the football. Now you see a tight end go across the middle. He's picked up by a linebacker, which opens up the big hook across the middle, and Mike Jones, 86, he gets in there. Good job by Wilson of getting the football to him.
Curtis Jordan knocking him down. You see on his right wrist there, he's got what looked to be like a lot of sweatbands. Well, you can also see he's got some plays written down there. He's only been here a couple of weeks from the Vikings in return for Wayne Wilson, veteran running back of the Saints, traded to Minnesota for Mike Jones. Up the middle, the tight end, Tice. John Tice inside the 20 for a first down. An impressive drive by New Orleans. And a first down in scoring territory, the red zone.
Saints had a history in the past few years of an unimaginative offense. You're seeing right now on first down, every opportunity the Saints have, they're throwing the football. There's virtually no pass rush, getting guys underneath their zones. They're dropping their linebackers deep. This time, instead of using Mays, a running back, they go to Tice, number 82, the tight end.
Coleman made the tackle, and meanwhile, Neil Olkowitz slightly injured on the play, being assisted off the field. John Tice getting the start at tight end for New Orleans in place of Hobie Brenner. We mentioned has a broken hand, suffered last week, is dressed, can play if necessary, but with a cast on his hand, just unable to catch the ball real well. So John Tice, the 4-year man from Maryland, their number 2 pick in 1983, gets the start today.
Also, Hamilton, 64, is out, and Cook is in, 74, trying to get more pass rush on Wilson.
Sean Burks comes in for the injured Olkowitz at linebacker, number 58. Wilson on first down, and it is incomplete as Rich Millott got up there in front of the intended receiver, Reuben Mays, and gave Mays no chance to catch it. Fortunately, I think the ball was too high for either one of them.
Well, we'll never know whether Dave Wilson was throwing it away to him or whether or not it was a poorly thrown ball. As it is, he was lucky for him because Rich Millott, 57, had his man covered. But the tendency is already set, and the Redskins coaching staff is excellent at dissecting tendencies and then attacking them. Right now, we're seeing no blitzing on first down, and so consequently, what we're seeing is the Saints throw the football because they'll have more time to throw the ball.
Until that play, they had 4 first downs on 4 consecutive plays. That's certainly the best drive of the season for the New Orleans Saints. 2nd and 10 at the 20-yard line. Dalton Hilliard, he of the thick thighs, battles his way for about 3, gets to the 16-yard line. Want to see a pair of wheels on a guy. This youngster, 5'8", 204 pounds, and it looks to me like about 150 of those pounds are right there, folks.
Those some powerful legs. 2nd-round draft choice out of LSU, along with Eric Martin, number 84, a wide receiver who was a 2nd-rounder last year out of LSU. So they're trying to get the LSU connection going.
So it is 3rd down. They need 7. They must get to the 9-yard line for a first down. Hilliard and Mays in a wide pro set. Wilson has his man Hilliard, a diving attempt. Had he caught the ball, he would have still been down on the ground, only at the 15-yard line. Millott on the coverage, and it looked to me like Millott might have been a little sore going off, or was that Monty Coleman? I think it was Coleman, and I remember Coleman has a hamstring from 2 weeks ago that kept him out of last week's game, and it looked like he was limping toward the bench after that play. Morton Anderson will come in with 18 straight field goals to his credit. And interestingly enough, the record, 23 consecutive, is held by Washington veteran Mark Mosley. This will be from the 25-yard line. 35-yard attempt from Morton Anderson, the Danish import. And he's got it. So a good drive by the Saints. Good defense in the red zone by Washington. Holds them to 3. We'll be right back. We are at the Superdome, indoor football from New Orleans, Louisiana, where the New Orleans Saints have just put on an impressive offensive march and wound up with a field goal by Morton Anderson from 34 yards out officially, cutting the Redskin margin to 7-3 as the Redskins had rolled the other way, survived 2 fumbles which they recovered, both recoveries by Russ Grimm, and George Rogers scoring the opening touchdown. Morton Anderson, he can pound it, and he does. Jenkins, again, in almost the identical spot as the opening kickoff, about 2 yards from the back line, and wisely deciding to not bring it out. So the Redskins will start from the 20-yard line. 4-0 Washington Redskins. In 1978, they went 5-0. And you can see when they score first, they're tough to catch. 31-2. They have such a good adjustable defense. You're going to hear us talking about that frequently, primarily because it has been a factor in all 4 of their games so far. They've been able to fine-tune things at halftime. We talked to Joe Gibbs about that process, and we'll pass it along as we get the opportunity. It is first down for the Redskins at the 20-yard line. Play action, quickly out to Clark. wrapped up by Poe immediately, but not before a gain of close to 9 yards.
A play earlier, they had tried to hit Clark on the right side, tried a little 5-yard hitch. It's something that they try to do. They like to do it, and it's a pass that is very similar to a run in the fact that it's designed for 5 yards. Now, if the quarterback, Poe that time, had missed a tackle, what you have in effect is a 75-yard touchdown pass. There's no coverage. So they use it simply as a run, just get 5 yards.
James Gethers has come in defensively on the right end for Jim Wilkes, number 94, on the short yardage play. Rogers hit behind the line. Gethers. Was Gethers the guy who got him.
Doing an excellent job of fighting off Jacoby's block. Penetrated, stuffed the play.
No gain on the play. Might even have lost about the length of a football. Now, George Rogers expecting his old teammates to be ready for him. He told us that in his conversations with Jackson that he knew that they have a lot of pride at stake. He was glad to be back here trying to have a good day. He's got a touchdown to his credit.
But he said one thing very important. He said, I talk no stuff.
That's right. Yeah, you asked him if he'd be saying hello out there. It's a little conversation, but I ain't going to talk no stuff. I don't want to get him riled up. 3rd down and 2. Sideliner Clark has the first down.
There's your miss.
Gets away from Poe and turns it upfield for a gain of about 17 yards. Gets to the, call it a 15-yard gain as they spot the ball at the 44-yard line.
It's an audible by Schrader. He comes out, 1, 2, 3, plant. Boom, there's a shot out wide. Clark, now look at this. We talked about a while ago. You missed the tackle. It could go all the way. There's one miss. And then finally, number 39, Brett Maxey comes over and makes the stop.
Maxey, the nickelback from Texas Southern, free agent last year. But a first down, Washington at the 43-yard line of the Redskins. Didier lines up on the wing right. Didier puts on miles and miles in his motion during the course of the game. Up the middle, it's the tight end Warren. Doesn't see a whole lot of pass catching action. A loose ball and a long whistle on the long delay on the whistle. Was he down?
They're saying he was down. One of the isolations that we would be looking for today would be Mills, 51, left inside linebacker. Because of his size, 5'9", we expected them, the Redskins, to work their tight ends man-to-man on Mills. That time they got it in. They used Warren, who's primarily a fullback playing tight end. He's a blocking man.
Well, the whistle seemed to be delayed, but it did appear on the replay as though he had been down before the ball came loose. Fumble cannot be caused by hitting the ground, of course. Schrader's now hit 6 in a row, and this time it's Rogers into the stack at midfield, got maybe a yard.
Oftentimes you will find that it's virtually impossible to run up the middle on a 3-4. The nose tackle's responsibility, Elliott, is to penetrate and take on 3 blockers. If he's successful at doing that, there will be no running up the middle. They'll have to hit the perimeters outside their tackles. Elliott, this part early in the game, is doing an outstanding job.
Wholesale changes on this 3rd and 3. A big defensive play for the early action of the game. Wilkes has come in, Pat Swilling and Frank Warren, as they will try to stop what they anticipate as being a run here on 3rd down. In motion is Clark. They'll throw. Up the middle, complete to Art Monk. Monk all the way to the 31-yard line, and a first down. Redskins driven out by Watlett and Waymer. Perfectly executed play by Schrader and Art Monk. 20 yards.
Excuse me, Tim. You like to move your wide receivers around so the quarterback can figure out whether it's man or zone. That time they ran with his receiver. He knew it was man. Monk up inside. He's isolated on Van Jakes, 22. Makes him miss. Goes by Watlett. And then finally Waymer, 44, rushes him, knocks him out of bounds.
Redskins at the 30-yard line, converting that 3rd down into not only a first down, but a big gainer. George Rogers. Rogers stopped at the corner. Good defensive play that time. And it was Antonio Gibson, one of the USFL refugees who played under Jim Mora in the other league out of Cincinnati. They like him. He's a tough guy. Think he can be a player in this league. We've come to the end of the first period. Redskins 7-3. Bradshaw at the Superdome in New Orleans, where the Redskins are driving again, and they lead 7-3. They had the ball for 10 minutes 39 seconds of the first period, and after an 0-4 start for Schrader, he's now 7 of 11 through the first period, 81 yards passing, and George Rogers with the touchdown run from 4 yards out. An impressive offensive drive by the Saints, resulting in the Morton Anderson field goal from 34 yards. Second down, Washington. 8 for a first down. Little short roll by Schrader. He's comfortable out there. Line drive too low for Gary Clark to pull out of that AstroTurf, artificial turf. Waymer on the coverage, number 44.
Same play they had run. This is the third time they've run that play. First time they ran it incomplete. Second time they completed it. Third time, once again, this time Schrader throws it low. So it's the third time they've run the play, and it's only been successful once.
Wilkes, Warren, and Pat Swelling come in defensively, along with Brett Maxey for the Saints on this 3rd and long situation. Derek Holloway, number 88, goes wide left for the Redskins.
Showing blitz here.
Clark out to the right. Schrader gets some time. Now the ball tipped and nearly picked off by Frank Watlett, the intended receiver, Monk. The ball tipped at the line of scrimmage. Good defensive work by the Saints, and there's Watlett.
Lining up inside, you can see Jackson 57 coming in, 27 Antonio Gibson, 27 blitzing, isolating outside their man Monk, man for man.
And it was Frank Warren, number 73, the 6-year man from Auburn, who comes in those pass rush situations, who got a hand on the ball. So the field goal try from the 35 from Mark Mosley. A 45-yard attempt. The straight-ahead kicker misses wide to his right. And the Saints faithful applaud the defensive effort. Mark Mosley not happy with a miss. So the veteran, who's consistent, misses that one.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is
45 yards out. And the Saints take over the ball, and a flag on the play, but it was John Williams, number 45, churning out close to a first down. And let's see what the call is here. John Williams, a 2nd-year man from Wisconsin, but a holding call against New Orleans from referee Fred Wyant. John Williams getting his first opportunity in this game so far. 5'11", 213-pounder, signed as a free agent.
Number 60, first down.
Came over from the Seattle Seahawks, who still have yet another John Williams as a fullback.
Steve Cord, number 60, Arkansas. Look at the arms on this guy. Most of these centers nowadays are 6'1", 6'2". He fits the mold perfectly. Strong, good lower center of gravity, good drive blocking.
6'2", 275-pounder. The draw play, and it is Reuben Mays, and Mays had one man to beat, or he'd be in the end zone without the stop by Curtis Jordan. And he picks up most of that lost yardage and then some, getting out to the 34-yard line. It'll leave 2nd down and about 3.
An ideal situation to run a draw, show pass, that lets everyone rush. Everyone's rushing, then you delay it and you hand it off to your back with your fullback leading up. Good job by the lead back, good job by the line actually, and then Mays busts through, no one there to make the tackle until he gets into the secondary.
Well, Curtis Jordan's going to like that on his VCR, because we called him right, even though a couple guys piled on. He was the man who made the tackle. He checks all that out. This is Mays for a first down to the 39-yard line. Reuben Mays from North Battleford, Saskatchewan, and Washington State. I can guarantee you he's the best football player ever to come out of North Battleford, Saskatchewan.
Well,
Terry.
if you say so, I'm going to believe it, because I have no idea where it is. And it sounds cold to me, and I don't like cold weather. So
it is cold. And there have been some hockey players come out of there, but no football players, not even in the Canadian Football League. Mays is now 37 yards, has 37 yards on 4 carries. Buford Jordan picks up about 2. The fullback carrying for the first time. He's from McNeese State from the USFL. Eagles in Atlanta scoreless in the 2nd period. Buddy Ryan's got his defense cooking now. And look at your old team getting its hat handed to him again this week.
Easy, Ryan.
And that is Mel Gray, the scooter, number 37 from Purdue. And that kid can really motor, and they got close to the first down. It'll leave 3rd and about 1.
Tim, you notice the change in offense strategy now? We've seen pass in the first quarter by the Saints on first down. Now we're seeing run. So it's a pass, run.
And there's the offensive coordinator Carl Smith, man with the curly hair.
Curly hair's in. I can't have curly hair, but it's still in.
Third in the yard. You got no chance on top.
That's right.
That. First down and then some for the Saints. Over the 45. Buford Jordan. One of the several USFL free agents on this Saints team, and New Orleans moving the ball with a variety of plays. A nice looking offense, as you point out, Terry. They've really mixed things up here.
Well, the thing that they're doing, you would think we were playing outside because of the humidity outside, but right now all 5 running backs for the Saints have carried the football and carried it very well.
Hilliard and Mays are the running backs, and you probably have noted, perhaps you have, that Monty Coleman is not in the lineup. That hamstring, as we pointed out in the last series, he left the field limping, and he's unable to get back in here. It's incomplete from Wilson. Intended for the tight end John Tice, number 82. It'll be 2nd and 10. So with Barry Wilburn on the corner for Vernon Dean, who's out with some kind of an injury, we'll try to determine. And Monty Coleman, bothered with that hamstring, suffered in the San Diego game. He's out of there. There he is. You can see he's got it wrapped up. Coleman missed last week's game, tried to get in there. Now Dean is back in, so he's apparently all right. Vernon Dean back in on the corner, number 32. 2nd and 10. So they'll use Angelo Snipes and Calvin Daniels in that spot at left linebacker for the Redskins the rest of the way. Coleman out for the day. Wilson gets time, and it is incomplete. Flag down on the play. A penalty will be called against the Redskins.
Darrell Green, number 28.
Mike Jones, the intended receiver. Malott and Darrell Green defending on the play, and it looks like the call will be against Darrell Green.
Actually, the thing that hurt Darrell Green in this play was a poorly thrown ball by David
Pass
Wilson.
interference, number 45. First down.
Oh, Wilburn, 45. Looked like Darrell Green. Anyway, the ball hung up there and actually was to the benefit of the Saints, but against the defense, just too long. He anticipated, and according to the referee, was pass interference. Well, let's see.
It's not Darrell.
Number 1, that's
Barry
not
Wilburn. No.
That's Green.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, Green, they say went through, went over his back, got his hands on him too soon.
Yep, you see Malott coming in to help out there, but the penalty should have been against Green, not Barry Wilburn. So it is first down, 20 at the 25-yard line. This is Reuben Mays. Takes it outside and gets inside the 20 to the 18-yard line.
They wanted him in this offense to give him the explosion. They say he's quicker than Dalton Hilliard. He's a guy that can make the big play. That time he reads a good block by Brock, goes inside of Brock's block, and goes outside and picks up some big yardage.
Curtis Jordan making the stop. But, I think what Jim Mora was saying yesterday is that he's got that great straight-ahead speed. He's a guy that can really break loose, whereas Hilliard's that little darter, the kind of guy that can pop in there, find a little daylight. And he thinks between the two of them, they've got something here in terms of offensive running backs. They're both youngsters, both rookies from LSU and Washington State. In motion is Eugene Goodlow. It's 2nd and 4. And a stack up there as the Redskins get tough in the so-called red zone at the 20-yard line. Darrell Grant on the tackle, along with Rich Malott.
The thing you have to be alert for as a quarterback in this area is blitzes. That time, Alvin Walton, number 40, coming off the left corner, blitz. Everyone was blitzing, trying to put pressure on Wilson. That time, they were successful. But you have to be alert, Tim. This is the area where you look for blitzes. This is the area where you look to isolate man for man and go up top and throw touchdown passes. This is the fun area.
Dave Wilson having to just check something with Mays there. It's 3rd down and 8. A loss of about 3.5 on that play. Under pressure, gets it off to Mays. Oh, what a defensive play by the Redskins. That is Angelo Snipes. Yet another ex-USFLer on the field. He's in Coleman's spot. And he read that from the word go. Mays did a good job to keep the football.
Dave Wilson this time should have known they were blitzing. He knew the play he had called. He should have known that there would be responsibility on his back. As his back goes out, 59 Angelo Snipes has him man for man. Wilson should have known this. He should have gotten out of the play and gone to something else.
The pressure came from Marcus Cook. Yet another Canadian out there from Kitchener, Ontario. That's rare to have two of them in the same game. And this is Morton Anderson from the 35. A 45-yard try by Anderson. and he has connected for his second field goal.
Look at
Anderson.
Anderson.
First half.
Excuse me, Tim. Anderson wasn't really sure that he had made the field goal. Normally, you can just put a camera on the kicker, and the minute they hit it, they either turn around and walk back, or they sit there and watch it hook in. That time, Anderson evidently thought that he was going to miss it. Let's watch. There's the kick. Now he watches. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm still not sure. Yes. Thank you.
From Struer, Denmark. He has 20 in a row. And it's 7-6 Washington. Well, I think that,
how about that?
That about says it, doesn't it, huh?
If it's a sin to win, then sin, Saints, sin.
Well, they moved to within a point of taking the lead on a 45-yard field goal by this young man from Denmark, Morten Andersen, who has kicked 20 consecutive field goals. 3 more, and he ties Mark Mosley's mark. Ken Jenkins brings this one out. And Jenkins gets to the 25, maybe the 26-yard line, where Joe Colbrand, number 55 reserve linebacker, made the tackle. A 28-yard return for Jenkins. And pretty good field position he has given his Redskins. And next Saturday, Michigan State and the Spartans against Michigan and the Wolverines, one of the great rivalries in college football, live at 2:30 Eastern time next Saturday on CBS Sports. And of course, the Spartans hoping Lorenzo White will be able to go. He hurt his knee yesterday and is questionable for next week, but I have an idea that that Heisman Trophy hopeful will get himself out there for the Spartans against arch rival Big Blue from Michigan. Formation to the right, first down. Schrader wants to throw that little roll a little deeper this time and comes back the other way. Intended for Didier. Incomplete. Did he hold it? No, he did not. He was hit by Antonio Gibson, the safety, number 27, as the ball arrived. It didn't look like Jay, as we know he's got quite a gun. Didn't look like he got it all on that one.
Play we had seen earlier, we've talked about this play, flooding 2 people to the right. Evidently Don Bro up in the box said, hey, we've got our man wide open on the back side. They come out with the same play, set it up, pump one side, and come back.
Boy, that's a fine play by Gibson. I mean, he went right up to where the ball was, knocked that ball away from Didier, and there's Schrader saying, boy, if I'd thrown it maybe a foot farther for my man Didier, but Gibson did a great job defensively. It is 2nd and 10. Griffin dangles out for a first down to about the 39-yard line, a 12-yard pickup, maybe 13, and Brett Maxey, number 39, puts a stop on him there, but Keith Griffin picks up 12 on the play, the third-year man out of Miami.
Well, he's the guy that's taking Brian's place, the guy that comes in, they expect the little, the jitterbugs in and out, make the little catches, come in, pound at you with Rodgers, take Rodgers out, put this man in, Griffin, then come back with Rodgers. It's a good combination, and it's worked well for the Redskins.
Imagine when they get Kelvin Bryant back, they're going to have, just awesome offensive ability in that backfield. Keith Griffin is a proven player. And this is Rodgers, the big man. And they batter him after a gain of about 3. Right now, let's take you to Brent Musburger for an NFL update.
Well, Tim, Chicago got on the board against Minnesota. This pass, Jim McMahon makes like Terry Bradshaw, 50 yards. Keith Ortego on the receiving end. Walter Payton pounds in his 6th touchdown, 7-0. Let's go back to Tim and Terry.
All right, Brent. Well, McMahon coming off the big win last week in his first action of the season, and that young Keith Ortego, they really like him in Chicago. He's a guy that was a free agent and kind of a sleeper last year, and Mike Ditka kept saying when this guy gets healthy and gets experience, he can be a player for us, and he's having a good season. Schrader complete into New Orleans territory at the 48. It's Art Monk. And Schrader had to thread the needle a little there, Terry. That's a good pass.
Same pass once again. That we've said this so many times. I'm amazed that the Washington Redskins are going to make this play work. They feel like it's going to work that time. Instead of going outside to Clark, they isolated inside. They let Monk move around. Boom. Found the open spot and got the ball to him.
Cardinals giving the Giants some problems there. 3-all in the second period. The winless Cardinals, and of course, Washington fans will be watching that score real carefully. Giants and Dallas at 3-1. Dallas later today here on CBS at Denver. Play action on first down. Schrader gets lots of time. He's got his man. Monk takes a hit but holds on and has another first down. That's a good example there, Terry, what Schrader was telling us yesterday, somewhat laughingly, about poor Art. He says he catches all those passes over the middle, doesn't get to the end zone. He hasn't had a touchdown yet.
Well, he hasn't had a touchdown this year. He's caught 20 passes coming in. As you see, Schrader outside to give him some time. Monk's coming across. He gets behind the linebackers, finds a little seam, and then Schrader with that strong arm pops the football in there. And then Poe, 25, he pops Monk.
Good hit by Poe, and that Monk 6'3", 210 shows his toughness again. First down, Redskins rolling at the 31-yard line of New Orleans. Monk in motion. Good shot for Rodgers out the left side. He's got some room. Rodgers plows for about 9 yards. They'll spot it. In fact, he may have the first down at the 26-yard line.
Crucial block this time is by Jacoby, 66. As you can see, he hook blocks, gets around the end, and pushes him down inside, allows Rodgers to get outside and work himself on the linebackers.
We haven't had an injury report on Russ Grimm, but R.C. Thielman came in a few plays ago at left guard. McKenzie having started for Thielman at right guard. And we'll be watching that to see whether Grimm gets back in, trying to find out what happened to him or whether he's just getting a rest. First down, Redskins moving. Play action. Wide open on the sideline. That is Monk again, and Monk picks up about 8, maybe 9 yards.
You know, Schrader's doing a good job of finding the people, getting the ball there, and letting these athletes catch it and run with the football. It's one problem that Jay's had. I relate to him because he and I both have strong arms, is that I couldn't throw a 10-yard pass. I just had a hard time. My arm was too strong, and I didn't like him. Well, he doesn't particularly like short ones, but he's doing a good job today of getting the 5- and 6-yard pass out there.
There's a 9-yard pickup, 2nd and 1, and George Rodgers batters his way toward the 10-yard line, has a first down. Washington, they'll spot it close to the 10, and it's Jim Wilkes, number 94, with initial contact on Rodgers.
Running, excuse me, Tim, running that left side right at Alvin Toles, right at Wilkes, the side they evidently feel like is the side to run at. It may be, in their opinion, the weak link in the Saints defense is that right side of the defense, so they've continually pounded away at the left side.
First down. Redskins at the 12-yard line. They lead 7-6. Again, Rodgers. Rodgers straight ahead, running with power, dragging tacklers inside the 5 to the 3. Frank Watlett finally pulled him down. Rodgers said this is exactly what he expects should happen. I like the way Schrader goes downfield with those passes. Get it down to the 10. Let me run it in.
Really. Left side again, same play, little cross buck. They pull Jacoby, they pull Grimm, 68. They do a good job and allow Rodgers to make their move. Good job there also by number 69.
Thielman in for Grimm, Terry, as we have not yet had a report on Grimm. Now, apparently Grimm has come back in, so they're just switching up those guards. They got a lot of depth there with young Raleigh McKenzie now. 2nd and a yard for the first down, and Rodgers would appear to have it. This will leave a 1st and goal from about the 3 if they spot the ball at the, well, let's make it the 2-yard line. They need to get to that marker.
Apparently they're short. Looks like it's about 4 inches.
So the Saints, good job stacking them up there. They'll leave 3rd and about a foot for the first down. Just outside the 2-yard line. Warren lines up in the I formation in front of Rodgers. Rodgers stopped. Probably has the first down. Did not get to the end zone, however, as the Saints scrapping in the shadow of their goalposts. Alvin Toles, a linebacker, number 1 pick last year, number 54, putting that initial contact on George Rodgers. And that's the man that the Saints acquired with the draft in that deal that sent Rodgers to Washington. There he is.
Running at the strength this time of the Saints. That side, number 75, Clark, and Jackson, 57, ran right at him. They did a good job of keeping him from in the end zone, but not getting him to the first down.
2-minute warning. Bradshaw back in the Superdome. 2 minutes to play in the first half, and the Saints playing the Redskins tough. 7-6, but it is 1st and goal, Washington at the 2-yard line, and Jim Mora has got all of his heaviest shock troops out there in this goal line defense. Warren is the lead back, the tight end they use for the blocker. They give us to Rodgers. Rodgers is stopped. Well, there's a little extra going on here. Rogers returns to the Superdome. All of his friends here, those that are left from the days of the Saints before the Mora era that began this year. Ricky Jackson, number 57, the initial contact, his best pal on the team when he played for New Orleans. And you know that there's a little extra going on when you're down here at the 2-yard line in a tight game.
Well, these guys are responsible for gaps. Ideally, what you'd like now is we've tried right, we've tried left, come outside, try a little play action, and cross your tight ends. Normally, they're highly successful down here and you can score touchdowns.
Second and goal from the 2. No gain on the last play. This time Warren lined up side by side. Oh, what a fine defensive play by the Saints. Breaking down the blocking out the left side. And that's big Joe Jacoby, number 66. That was just overpowered. And that Tolles, number 54. And at the bottom, Wilkes, number 94, did a job on Jacoby.
Once again, same play one side, same play the other side to come out with a lead back. Handed back, penetration by the Saints is unbelievable. Look at this, 8 players over there driving. No way you can score. No way you can score.
275-pound Jim Wilkes out of San Diego State just backed up everybody. And we've got a timeout on the field with 3rd and goal, and the Redskins by a point. Line for the Redskins, 59 seconds left in this half. Terry Bradshaw, I know you and Jay Schrader like to put the ball in the air here. What about Joe Gibbs? What's he going to do?
Well, they've tried 2 runs. They've got to think we've made play action. The Saints are guessing, well, we've stopped them, so they may play action. Evidently, they're spreading them out. Look for a run.
They've got one setback now, Rogers, and 2 wide receivers to the right. They're going to throw. It's a lob for Monk. Is he in the end zone? Touchdown. And the Saints saying he did not come down in the end zone with possession. Johnny Poe on the coverage. Perfectly lobbed pass by Schrader. And Monk has the touchdown.
Came out, showed wide receivers, spread out the defense. 1, 2, 3, isolated Monk. Good job of throwing the ball up. It's an alley-oop pass. It's the responsibility of the receiver to make the grab. All right, there it is. Left foot, right foot. Hey, touchdown.
Touchdown, no question. And Art Monk sends the Redskins on top 13-6. Mosley will be in for the point after. That's his first touchdown catch of the season. And Mosley with the point after. So the Redskins, with time winding down in the first half, were very persistent at the goal line, but they went to the air for the score, and they lead 14-6. His first touchdown catch of the season, and you know, despite having a great year last year, as he usually does, he only had 2 touchdowns all season long. And Jay Schrader was kidding about that with us yesterday, saying, you know, gee, I don't know why this happens. He's got 20 catches coming into today's game, and you know, hasn't been in the end zone yet in 4 games this season. Well, he got one there, and it was the big guy couldn't get it in.
Yeah, he's going to have some fun with Rogers, because Rogers was laughing at Monk saying, yeah, he gets us down there to the 10. I take it in. I'm leading the NFL with 36 points. This guy hadn't scored. Well, now, turnabout's fair play.
Steve Cox's kickoff. Mel Gray from 3 yards deep. Nowhere to go. Traffic at the 12. Good coverage by the specials team of the Washington Redskins. Terry Orr, reserve tight end number 87, wrapping up the speedster Mel Gray. Some folks always say, well, Mel Gray, he's new to us. Is he related to the old Cardinal? No. The answer is no. At halftime, Brent and Dick Vermeil in the studio today. We'll have scores and highlights for you. And our special feature, the eyes of Texas upon Herschel Walker. Walker averaging 6.1 yards a carry since he joined the Dallas Cowboys, and you'll see him later today against Denver on our doubleheader action here on CBS. Unbeaten Broncos and the 3-1 Cowboys. First down from the 12-yard line. 51 seconds on the clock. Wilson on the draw play to Reuben Mays. Reuben Mays shakes off one tackler and gets out to the 18-yard line. 5'11", 200-pounder showing some strength. Marcus Cook made the tackle, number 74. One Canadian tackling another. Wilson going to get nailed. Got the pass off. It'll be incomplete. It was Dexter Manley with a near sack, but Wilson able to get the ball away. It'll leave 2nd and 4, make it 3rd and 4, pardon me. And a Redskin player is down. Big Dave Butts, number 65. 28 seconds remaining in the first half, and Butts in apparent pain. The 36-year-old veteran from Purdue. You know, he's missed only one game in 99. He is a very durable guy, so this is an unusual circumstance for Dave Butts. Meanwhile, the Eagles have opened the lead on Atlanta. Philadelphia under Buddy Ryan with a victory over the Rams last week after starting the season winless in 3. Cleveland and Pittsburgh, a 3-point margin. The Steelers, boy, you just
talked a little too soon, didn't you, little boy?
No, but you've got to be dying about your old Steelers.
No, I'm not dying. I'm here. I'm dying right here.
Well, we'll determine that a little later. Detroit in front of Houston, 14-10 in the second period.
They folded. Houston's going down.
Well, I tell you, that offensive line, if they get that Warren Moon some time, that guy can play.
13-7, Cincinnati with a high-powered offense, unable to get going this year so far. 13-7 over Green Bay. Minnesota, Chicago.
That's about on schedule there. Minnesota off to a good start. But
yeah, but Tommy Kramer's having a great year.
Yeah.
6 TDs last week and really having a fantastic year.
Happy to see Butts up on his feet and headed toward the Redskin bench.
A big man. That's one of the reasons that guys like me, little fragile tiny people, are happy to be up here with even tinier people like you, Ryan.
300 pounds of Dave Butts. Yeah, I wouldn't like to have that on top. New England
24-0.
Look, isn't that something, huh? Boy, that Miami defense is dreadful.
They only remember you for what you did last game. Well, they're not doing well in Miami.
3rd and 4. Big play here for the New Orleans Saints. They trail 14-6. Time winding down in the half. They got to keep the ball, and they do. It's complete to Eric Martin, and Martin gets out to the 30-yard line. Hauled down.
Bowles, number 23, Todd Bowles.
A rookie from Temple, signed as a free agent. And there's an extra back in the prevent.
Now, you should have your play call, or they got a timeout here, but I don't understand not having 2 plays called. You've got 20 seconds left in the game. Have 2 plays called, have a third as an alternate, and get up there and run the 2 plays. I don't understand one play, you get a first down, timeout, and you go to the sideline. This is, that's not how I think you should do it, Tim. I think you should try to get as much down the field and save those precious timeouts.
Well, they have 20 seconds remaining, and they're at the 30-yard line. There's Babe Laufenberg, and he's a former Redskin, talking things over there with the offensive staff. You see Carl Smith and the quarterback, Dave Wilson, number 18. Laufenberg just re-signed when Hebert went down. They brought Laufenberg back. He had been in the camp earlier here in New Orleans, and Laufenberg was cut by Washington when they went down to 50 back in August. He had been with the Redskins, of course. The Saints claimed him. They cut Richard Todd when they signed Laufenberg originally. Then when they went down to the 45-man roster, Laufenberg was released. They went with Hebert and Dave Wilson, 2 quarterbacks. And so he was on the beach again, and he's been known to be on the beach. The Redskins found him last year on a beach in Mexico when Theismann got hurt, and they brought him back at that time. He's a much-traveled young quarterback. First down. Wilson.
Excellent throw.
First down, right on the money, and it's Mike Jones, the former Viking. Vernon Dean makes the tackle there.
I really, for the life of me, don't understand why another time. Well, it's 12 seconds. Okay, I understand that. But why not have those 2 plays called? You get a first down. Now you've got, there's 12 seconds left. You get up there, you run a play now. You've got to get down inside at least the 25-yard line before you'll have an opportunity for the field goal. But maybe not so much this timeout, Tim, as the one before where I felt like they could have gotten up there, got the play off, maybe picked up 10 or 15 yards, and then throw the ball out of bounds. You don't have to necessarily just call timeouts. You can stop the clock by throwing the football out of bounds.
Well, they're now at their 47-yard line, and Morton Anderson is the man we expect to see out there with 12 seconds remaining. He's made 20 consecutive field goals, the longest streak in the NFC, and the record for the league held by Mark Mosley of the Redskins at 23.
One of the things that's very interesting is every team in the National Football League works on a play which is a hook and lateral. And this is a prime situation for something like that, where the quarterback goes back and throws a 10 or 15-yard hook. Everyone goes in to tackle the guy, and then in turn he turns around and pitches to a trailing back who scoots down the sideline and makes it exciting. Maybe scores, maybe doesn't. But every team has it. The Saints have it. We've seen them use it. So maybe this is an ideal situation for them to use a play like that.
Well, we'll find out right now. 12 seconds on the clock, first half. 14-6, Redskin lead. Given time. No, and it is almost intercepted, and is intercepted on the deflection. Curtis Jordan, the 10-year veteran, and a loose ball, but play is whistled dead, and Washington, with time expiring, breaks up the last gasp by the Saints here in this first half. Well, I don't think the Redskins really expected to be in quite the dogfight they are here through the first half of play, as the Saints have played them tough. They're down 14-6 as Washington trying to move up to 5-0 on the season, their best start since 1978. We'll return to the Superdome. Washington 14, New Orleans 6.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored.
They were stopped down in here tight, and they went to the air.
It's a man-for-man coverage. The thing that they wanted to isolate was their receivers on these defensive backs. It's a good catch. A lot of folks here thought that this was not a completion, but as you can see, it clearly was a touchdown.
Yeah, 2 feet down in possession of the ball in the end zone, and so Art Monk's touchdown put them up 14-6. But again, the Redskins know they can't take these guys lightly. Certainly some more offense, some more varied offense, and the addition of Reuben Mays has made the New Orleans a team to contend with for the next 30 minutes here.
Well, they've got to stop Mays. I think Wilson will go back to his first down passing, and it'll be interesting. One thing I haven't noticed so far on behalf of the Saints, I've seen no blitzing, and last week against the Giants, they were successful blitzing Sims. So I would look in the second half for if there's a change on the defensive scheme, it would be for the Saints to come out and be more aggressive. Blitzer linebackers, blitzer safety.
And then that strong-arm quarterback, Jay Schrader, who loves Terry Bradshaw's original idol, will just chuck the ball downfield against the blitz. We'll be back.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored.
And there, I asked him about, how about, does he pick up anything from Dexter, Tim, about talking, how Dexter likes to talk to the players? And he said, no way, man, I'm just a quiet guy. I like to go out and do my business.
Reuben Mays all the way to the bench. Well, the Saints had some problems in the third quarter so far. The first few games of this season, they haven't had much productivity, as we showed you a few minutes ago there. Graphically speaking, not too impressive in the earlier games. It's going to be 2nd and about 3 when we resume play here right now. Dave Wilson, the quarterback. In motion comes Mike Jones.
Stacking their linebackers again, Tim.
Now Goodlow goes out the right side, and he's got it here.
There it is.
Mays. Now that's good defensive coverage by Ken Coffey, because Mays, while he got the first down, could have been in the end zone, except for good reaction by Coffey.
We talked about this play before the half. It was a good time to use it. Evidently, the Saints said, hold it, we want to use it for the third quarter. Wilson outside. Jones to Mays, and then the rest is left up to the strong safety, number 48, Coffey, as he finally knocks him out of bounds. But a little bit of razzle-dazzle here.
So it's first down New Orleans at the 36-yard line of the Washington Redskins. Opening series of the second half. Looks like Manley was offside, and flags go up. Buford Jordan, meanwhile, churns out about 6 yards close to the 30-yard line of the Redskins, and Sean Burks makes the tackle. Number 58.
Offside, number 72, first down.
And it was Manley offside.
You're going to see left to your screen is Manley anticipating the snap a little too soon. 1 foot over, and now the ball is snapped. Tim, what we used to do, Mike Webster would do in Pittsburgh, if he saw a defensive end or a lineman do this, even though the snap count was a long one, he would go ahead and snap the ball to me so we could go ahead and get a 5-yard penalty.
Well, they got 1st and 5. And the Saints driving here to open the second half. And a loose ball covered by Wilson. And the snap from Steve Court. Whether there was a miscount or what happened there, maybe we'll see, but it cost them a loss of about 2 yards, maybe 3. We'll leave a 2nd and 8. So a miscue there, a costly one. You're at 1st and 5 at the 30-yard line of the Redskins to start this second half, down just 14-6. Now all of a sudden the whole complexion changes. Let's see if they can rebound from that and how the Redskins react defensively. Calvin Daniels in along with Tim Morrison now on the 2nd and long defensively for Washington. The pass intended for Hilliard out of the backfield, well covered by Daniels, a linebacker. And Wilson could not get the ball to his running back coming into the pass pattern out of the backfield.
1st and 5 would have been a good time to run that play. 2nd and 8, Tim, what automatically you're telling the defense is, hey, we're going to have to throw the football, some type of pass to get us into our first opportunity to make a first down. So they guessed right. That time they put 56 Daniels on their man, and he did an excellent job of covering him.
Buford Jordan comes back in, and 4 wide receivers. And this passing down for the New Orleans Saints. Jordan the lone setback for blocking purposes. And here comes the rush, and Wilson just got it away. Nobody out there. The charge led by the linebacker, Rich Millott. 1, 2, 4, 6 Redskins all in on the pass rush.
An all-out rush. It's just 6 people rushing. You have to have, you got a back end. The back actually messes up. You have 6 people rushing. You have 6 people staying in the block. It's a perfect balance. The quarterback should have had time to throw the football. That time the running back came up, tried to make his block, Buford Jordan, but he messed up in his assignment. Therefore, they're going to have to try a field goal.
So the Redskins rise up defensively after the miscue by Manley, giving them 1st and 5. Suddenly that tough Redskins defense holds again from the 41-yard line. Morton Anderson. And it is wide. And not only does he miss it, but it ends his streak at 20 consecutive field goals, protecting the record held by Washington's Mark Mosley. So the score remains with 11:22 remaining 3rd period. The Redskins 14-6. Moments ago, Morton Anderson trying from 51 yards out. The punter Brian Hansen holding. And Anderson watching this one. That's a long one for him. His longest of the season was 47. Didn't miss by much, but he knows it's not there. And still, the crowd gave him a real round of applause as he came back to the Saints bench. His streak ended at 20 consecutive field goals, 3 short of Mosley's record. All right, the Redskins. George Rogers breaking out for a 10-yard gain and a first down to the 44-yard line of Washington. Frank Watlett and Johnny Poe finally stop him there. So the Redskins, starting from the former line of scrimmage, now have a first down at their own 44. Score remains 14-6. Tim Ryan and Terry Bradshaw at the Superdome. And again, that Redskin defense tightening up as they have each time the Saints have threatened getting into the so-called red zone. They came out with 2 field goals, and that time they were stopped after the penalty to Manley gave them 1st and 5. The Redskins would let them go no farther. Bader, and Wheeler can't make the interception. That one just did not come out of the hand of the quarterback, Jay Schrader, in the manner to which he has become accustomed.
Tim, the thing they had done earlier was run the cross-buck action with Schrader handing off to Rogers. Now they decide, hey, let's do some play action. We've got these guys isolated. Monk out here on Waymer. Schrader comes out. He's got a strong arm. Everyone knows the guy can throw it a mile. He comes out. Now look at this. We're talking wide open. And then Jay just simply lost control of the football. That ball came out end over end. And one of the complaints has always been by quarterbacks in these NFL footballs is that they're slippery. And believe it or not, they are. I'd say that's one of the reasons why that ball fluttered.
All right, it is 2nd and 10. In motion goes Monk behind the ball. Rogers, Mr. Reliable, puts it up inside. Tackle from behind by Casey Merrill. Merrill, a new acquisition this week by the Saints to improve their pass rush. A former New York Giant, released by the Giants, went to Cleveland. Didn't last there too long, but an experienced, good player. Had time with the Packers and 2 or 3 good seasons with the solid defense of the New York Giants, and he's happy to be here. I like talking to Casey yesterday. He said, "How do you like New Orleans?" It's great. He said, "Two people said good morning to me on my way to practice." He said in New York, what they do is they flip you the bird, which is an expression that's almost self-explanatory. Third down.
You want to
5.
explain it to me?
No. Third down play for the Redskins. Under pressure, and it is incomplete, intended for Monk.
Another pass, bad pass that time by Schrader. Off balance, backing up, anticipating his people. You know, sometimes you have games where you come out and you don't throw the ball well. That series, Tim, he did not throw the ball well.
And again, recognition by the crowd here at the Superdome, appreciating the Saints defensively as that pressure came from James Gethers. So the Redskins stopped, and they will have to punt. Eric Martin is the deep man at the 10-yard line. The punter is Steve Cox.
Beauty.
Just the second punt for Cox, and it's a dandy. And it just doesn't go in. My goodness.
Yes.
The signal touchback. Boy, oh boy, that ball just bounced back upfield at the goal line. Little extracurricular activity going on there around the ball right now. Players get them separated, but that looked like it might just die on the 1 foot line.
Well, he kicks the ball and it goes up. Cox does, and it goes up and turns sideways. It doesn't turn nose down, Tim, and floats down flat. And when it hits flat, it depends on which side has the most balance. That time it hit on the right edge of the ball, knocked it to the left. Looked like back there. You could just see it hit the end zone line right there.
You know, when I first took this crazy job, they were ready to bury Chrysler. Last year, you made us the fastest growing car and truck company in America. We did it by coming up with what this country needed. K-cars, convertibles, turbos, and minivans, all with a 550 protection plan. America, you stuck with us. And here's the payoff. This year, we're introducing more of what America needs than any other car company. Chrysler LeBaron. Hardtop or no top. America needs a luxury car that looks like this one and drives like this one. Dodge Shadow and Plymouth Sundance. America needs new small cars to close the gap between us and the Japanese. In my book, the gap is closed. Dodge Dakota, not too big, not too small. It's America's first true mid-sized pickup. Now, how come the other guys didn't think of that? Dodge Daytona, we made the hot one look even hotter. And there's more. We share one ambition with our friends at Maserati, to be the best. That's why we're building this sports coupe with Maserati. It ain't cheap, but neither is caviar. I think you'll agree that's a tough act to follow in anybody's book. But we won't be happy till we have America cheering and the competition muttering, "Who are those guys?"
The Michigan Wolverines, a team of explosive dimensions. But can they control the one-man explosion of Heisman hopeful Lorenzo White next Saturday on CBS Sports?
Who is Sean Burks, number 58, the rookie from LSU? Free agent this year, playing in there for the injured Neil Olkowitz. Well, I'll tell you, among the other things that he is, besides being a linebacker, is he throws a javelin. Now, this guy here, that's Terry Bradshaw.
Oh, my God.
And he's holding the javelin. And Burks broke his state record here in Louisiana, the high school record held by our own Terry Bradshaw.
I promise you this, regardless of what Burks does today, I will not say anything about it. That's my get even with him. There he is, 58. You know, they used to have a record here, and you had to break it in the state meet. And he's an LSU guy, and I threw it 238 something. So evidently he threw it a lot further than that. And
listen, you didn't have much more hair then than you got now.
Look at that style. Now, you folks in Washington are viewing this. How about that style? That fits in with the Boz up in Oklahoma. I set a trend back in 1964 that I didn't realize would still be going on today.
All right, Buford Jordan got 3. It is 2nd and 7, New Orleans at their own 23-yard line. That's complete to John Tice, and he fights for the first down yardage. Calvin Daniels, number 56, makes the tackle on him. Daniels out of North Carolina and Kansas City Chiefs.
Simple little pass coming out. Tice, 1, 2, 3 steps by Wilson, gets him out, has him isolated on Daniels, 56. Tice does a good job, gets the ball, and gets the first down.
Redskins hurting a little bit at that linebacker spot. Mel Coughlin gone down with the Achilles. Monty Coleman, who they like to use more in the special situations, had to move over, become a starter out the left side for the hamstring against San Diego. Missed last week, tried to go today, and had to leave again with the same hamstring problem. Reuben Mays is dropped for a loss of 2 by Sean Burks, our guy. Throw the javelin. Go get Reuben Mays, number 58 from LSU. Well, he looks like he's big enough and strong enough. 6'1", 230 pounds. Does it take a big guy to throw the javelin?
No, not really. What it takes to be a great javelin thrower is, number one, you have to be obviously very handsome, which I think Burks and I probably were. Takes a lot of action, real quick wrist, so he obviously has those.
Reuben Mays gets loose off tackle. Good effort by Mays. Picks up about 6. And he'll leave a third down and about 6 yards to go. And Ken Coffey on the tackle. You can see the Saints have had their problems in the second half, as we noted at the top of the game. Just 14 points in the first 4 games of this season scored in the second half of those games. So things from that point of view look a little dark for them. On the other hand, they have been able to move the ball with some effectiveness today, and including here in the second half, although the Redskins stopped them when Anderson was forced to try for the 51-yard field goal. Flags everywhere. Wilson is sacked by Manley. Dexter Manley with a straight shot coming in at Wilson. No chance to unload the ball. Manley's 16th sack. I'm sorry, not Selby, all right.
If you had last year's, yes.
That'd be great. A great number of sacks in Game 5. What I was looking for was, if the sack stands, and it's not going to, he would pass Dyron Talbert's club mark.
12 men on defense. Third down.
Well, I know that Bill Kahn, 70, the left tackle, appreciates the penalty. He was a man that was caught out isolated on Manley. So thank you for that. 12th man on the field. Down here in LSU, they believe in the 12th man, but I don't believe that's quite how it works.
That'll leave 3rd and 1, a break for the Saints there. And Dexter Manley's sack wiped out. It's only a matter of time, of course, before he'll pass Dyron Talbert's 56th, the Washington career mark, and that is Reuben Mays for the first down.
Mays apparently has that ability, Tim, to slither, to get in, find a little crack in the offensive line, and slither in there and kind of a sneaky running back, and slides in and picks up yardage that a back like Rodgers would probably, since he's so big, would have to hit and then create a hole for him. But that time he just slithered through there and picked up the first down.
Don't forget, we've got lots more football action ahead on CBS. Our doubleheader game, the Cowboys at 3-1 against the unbeaten Denver Broncos, 4-0, top the AFC West. First down, Saints. Flags again. In the middle, a pass complete. It is Dalton Hilliard out of the backfield, number 40, the LSU rookie. And let's see who this one is against. Fred Wyatt, our referee, will let us know. Illegal procedure, the preliminary signal against New Orleans. So that's going to back that up. Leave 1st and 15. Mike Jones comes into the lineup.
They have illegal shift, 2 men moving.
2 of the Saints moving with this young backfield of Hilliard and Mays, 2 rookies. Those things are going to happen. Jim Mora, been very patient, good attitude displayed. And chatting with him yesterday about, he knows what he's got here. He knows he's got a long way to go building this team. Got some talent. They need a lot more. He's very realistic about it. And he's certainly created a solid atmosphere, optimism and confidence among his young players. 1st and 15. Wilson up the middle, and it's Mike Jones. Jones short of the first down, but gets near midfield before he's hit by Calvin Daniels and Sean Burks. 56 and 58.
Look, notice on the left of your screen the stacked linebackers, Burke and Malott. Notice how they're stacked. This is the thing, the different adjustment that they've made with their linebackers in the second half to offset the Saints passing and running. Now this time Malott will come up and he'll take a first back out, and then they end up leaving Burks deep. That time a good job by the quarterback Wilson of getting the ball into Jones.
2 substitutes in at linebacker for the Redskins. A test of their depth here in the second half. Mays trying to get it wide. Mays lost his balance but dives forward with a good second effort and has the first down at the 45-yard line of the Washington Redskins. Now they're spotted right on the 45. Daniels and Curtis Jordan on the tackle. If you joined us late, Coleman left, re-injuring his hamstring. He hurt 2 weeks ago against San Diego. Olkowitz gone with an injury, and they have Daniels and Burks in as their replacements. Ruben Mays now up to 80 yards on 13 carries. The rookie from Washington State. Flags again. Hilliard gets to the 40-yard line, a pickup of 5.
Now you see the contrast in styles. Hilliard, instead of trying to elude the tackler, tried to run through him. Mays, had he had the ball, he would have stopped, juked him, cut back inside, and tried to finesse himself for 5 or 6 yards.
Hilliard trying to carry Jordan and Coffey with him, and it looks like another illegal motion or shift. There it is.
67. First down.
Stan Brock, right tackle.
Charge of the lineman, number 67, a 7-year veteran out of Colorado.
Only thing that could happen is the tackles put their hands down on the ground. Now, when you put your hand down to a 3-point stand, you can't move. You can't pick it up. Obviously, that time Stan put his hand down, picked it up.
Jim Finks and Jim Mora think that this offensive line has got some real potential. Don't forget their number 1 pick from Virginia, Jim Dombrowski, lost in the second week of the season. They think he's going to be a real good one. He was a starter. And he's gone for the year. They got Bill Kontz from Cleveland to fill in. Loose ball. And it may have rolled right in to a fallen Saint, Buford Jordan. What a break for New Orleans there. He was on the ground, and the ball just rolled right under him. He was able to get possession before a Redskin did.
You're going to see a blitz once again. Looks like this is what Washington wants to do. As you can see, outside Malott, inside Burks, as they both put the pressure on the quarterback Wilson. He drops the football, and it rolls right into Buford Jordan's hands.
Yeah, it looked like he just backed right into Jordan. Right here, look at this. He hit his own man.
He hit him in the head.
Yeah, as he was about to take the ball up for the pass, the blocking back Jordan making contact with the ball in Wilson's hand. But again, this is the kind of the mistakes that a young player is going to make. Buford Jordan, in his first year in the NFL from McNeese State, came over from the USFL.
One of the problems you had, it wasn't necessarily what they're looking for now is an incompletion. They're calling upstairs, say they saw his hand going forward, and they're going to say, is it a pass or was it actually a fumble? Obviously, they're saying it's a fumble.
Well, he just looked at our picture to confirm that. That's what the huddle was up to the instant replay official upstairs. But he was raising his hand. He never got to move it forward. It banged on the head of his own man, Buford Jordan. So it is 2nd and 15. Slot formation left. Now in motion goes Goodlow out of the backfield. Here's another new look from the Saints. And plowing straight ahead, Buford Jordan, stopped by Dean Hamill. And he got about 5 yards. Now, we are told that they ruled that an incomplete pass. I can't think so. I mean, the ball rolled forward. It was recovered by the Saints.
Well, what has to happen is the hand has to be going forward, Tim, and I couldn't see the hand going forward. I saw it coming backward, and I saw when he threw it back that the football hit Jordan right on the helmet, so I disagree with the call.
Well, it is 3rd and 10. Mike Jones in motion back toward the ball. Here comes pressure, and Wilson is sacked. Relentless Redskin defense will get you eventually. Angelo Snipes this time. Number 59, the linebacker from West Georgia, and Rich Malott right behind him.
They're getting Wilson from his blind side. He's a right-handed quarterback, and the pressure's coming from the left, bottom left of your screen. Malott outside, Snipes inside. Now you're going to see Snipes break free. Malott breaks free, and now Malott forces him up and then sets him up for Angelo Snipes, number 59, to finally finish him off. But they're getting him from his left side, the blind side.
So the Saints will have to punt. Brian Hansen, with Ken Jenkins waiting for it for the Redskins, angling for the corner. A high punt from Hansen. Lands in the end zone and will be a touchback. So the Redskins will start from their 20 when we return with 1:57 remaining in a quickly played third period. Washington by 8.
The horsepower of Dallas's Herschel Walker. It all starts with the NFL Today next Sunday on CBS Sports.
Tim Ryan with Terry Bradshaw at the Superdome in New Orleans. 72 degrees inside, 90 degrees outside. The Redskins leading 14-6 in the third period. Coming down to 1:57 remaining. We have not had a score. This was the score at halftime. Anderson missed a 51-yard field goal for the Saints as the Redskins stopped what was looking like a pretty good drive for New Orleans early in this third period. But the field goal missed. And so we've had no scoring at all. Both defenses have been accomplished here in this third quarter. Let's see what Jay Schrader and company can do now. Wide to the right comes Didier. In motion comes Monk. Rogers. And a good defensive play by the Saints, and it was Ricky Jackson, number 57. He smelled it, and he went and got his old buddy George, and there's a little conversation there. You can see Jackson say something to him.
As you can see, 57, he's reading Rogers all the way. He comes inside, he beats Grimm, gets inside of Grimm, and then knocks Rogers down in the backfield. Kind of a read then. He wasn't really blitzing. There was no support on his part, Tim. He just sat there, he saw Rogers, then boom, then he went after him.
James Gethers, Casey Merrill come in defensively on 2nd and 12, a loss of nearly 2 yards. Rolling left this time, Schrader. Complete. Art Monk for a first down, and the veteran knows just where to get to make sure he's got first down yardage. And the Redskins quickly out of trouble after the loss on first down.
Important pass for Schrader here. He's not throwing the ball well in this second half. He comes out, same play earlier, two receivers one side, Monk inside, reads the coverage, sits down, and then Schrader with one of his better throws, nice tight spiral, just slings it right in there.
7 catches today for Art Monk, as you saw, and he's got a touchdown to his credit. First down, Redskins. Monk in motion. Rogers tries the left side, forced wide and shut down again.
James Haynes, what a great job. 92, right outside linebacker did, and knocking off pursuit that time, Tim, and getting inside and making the stop.
Haynes, a free agent back in 1984 at Mississippi Valley State.
There's so many things you can do with a 3-4 alignment with these linebackers. You can blitz both inside, blitz both outside, combinations, and it really drives an offensive line, Craig, very hard to find out who do you block. And one of the things I think that the Saints have done in the second half is mix up their defensive coverages, especially their linebackers.
So they are giving the Redskins some problems. They've not been able to move the ball so far, and we have now completed the third period with the score Washington 14, New Orleans 6. Tim Ryan with Terry Bradshaw in New Orleans. The big man there in the middle is Steve Sidwell, just turning away from me, the defensive coordinator for the Saints. And in that third period, they held Washington to 28.9 yards of total offense. Washington only had the ball 3 minutes and 44 seconds. Now the Redskins with a 2nd and 10 at their own 31. And that is Clark.
Good move by Clark.
The skittery one over there, and he manages to get close to the first down marker with 2 Saints trying to get a hand on him. He's hard to catch.
You ask yourself, how do you stop this? Well, the way you stop this pass is by pressing your corner. If he's pressing, then you cannot run a 5-yard hitch. Now they're respecting his speed by staying off of him and saying, Waymer, we think you can do the job, so cover him. Waymer says, no big deal, I can handle it. And what does he do? He lets him catches it, does a good job of making him miss, and then finally Waymer gets a second chance and knocks him out of bounds.
Well, the Redskins have the football, and they have this record going for them. After 3 quarters of play, they won 29 of their last 30 when they were ahead. So they're tough in this department. A flag down. And again, Rogers, however, while he looks like he got the first down, the Saints have been getting a little tougher on the Redskins running game. Flag on the play. Fred Wyant gets the word from his back judge.
We have 13 men on defense.
Hey, if you don't, hey, why not?
13.
Let's don't have 12. Let's get 13. I've seen it all now. Can't stop them one way, brother. Just load up the wagon and bring them out.
First down.
That's 13. The fans love it.
Well, you know, this substitution defense, you make one mistake, you can have a few guys on the field, and the officials are very aware of that. They're watching.
Evidently, they had so much respect for the Redskins and their short yardage offense, they thought they'd bring 2 more folks out to stop them. Not bad thinking.
First down. And it is Warren jumping over to make the wing right, and Monk comes back to the near side in motion. Play action, that quick flare out there, and Weimer knocked
There's your flag.
Right on his backside, and he'll get called on that for interference.
The thing you have to be the thing that the fans can look for now. They've thrown this
Pass
hitch.
interference, number 44, first down.
They've thrown this hitch pass now 4 times. They've had success with it. They're working on Weimer. Now the thing we're going to look for, as you can see the pass. Now let's see. Outside. All right, he's already knocked him down. He's already run through the defensive. The defensive back has run through the receiver, and there's your flag already way before the football even gets there.
But at your point, though, Terry, is that he's been laying off him, afraid that he'll turn it up on him and get away. So this time he came up close and got there too soon. So Clark giving Weimer fits. First down, Redskins. Rodgers again, they stack him up as the Saints getting tough against the run. James Geathers, number 97, puts the blocks on George Rodgers that time. Kansas City against the struggling Raiders, 17-14. Chiefs not exactly off to a dazzling start.
Well, 3-1 is pretty dazzling. 1-3 by the Raiders is not dazzling. I think that's what you wanted to say.
That's exactly
now
right.
This is dazzling. Cincinnati 27-7. This is interesting. Chicago.
Yeah, Minnesota must be playing some tough defense, but they have no points. 13-0. Bears in that one. Second down and 9 here in New Orleans. Pressure. Schrader. Good movement. Running out of real estate. Forced out by Johnny Poe. Got back to about the original line of scrimmage. It'll be third down.
You have to be scared to death every time Schrader gets out of the pocket. He has made so many big plays in the Charger game, big play rolling out. He's done it against the Raiders. He did it last week. He's done it time and time again. And the defensive backs have to stay with their people. This is what's killed defenses. Schrader gets out and he makes these huge plays. That time the coverage people stayed with him, Tim. Schrader did the best he could to get what he could get.
Coverage downfield was excellent. There was nowhere for him to go with the ball. Third and 9. 6 defensive backs in for New Orleans. Crowd comes alive. Blitz. Clark wide open. A flag is down. He's tackled by Weimer, but he's down at the 12-yard line. Now, who's the flag against? Did he push off?
Well, that's the thing you got to ask, because he was so wide open. You would think that the offensive man pushed off of the defensive man. We're just going to have to wait and see.
A 33-yard gain. Let's see which way this penalty goes.
Holding, number 44, decline.
It is on Weimer. Let's watch what happened here. Weimer, he's just been absolutely mesmerized by Clark.
Well, you can see he's playing 5 yards off. They've thrown the hitch. He's got a penalty already. Now he's jumping inside trying to jam him. He sees that Clark is going to beat him deep, so he just throws his hands around him and grabs his shoulder. Now Clark's totally undaunted by that as he blows right by and makes the big play, which is the greatest insult there is. If you're going to go ahead and get a penalty, don't let the guy get 30 yards out of it.
5'9", 175-pound Gary Clark is giving Weimer fits. First down, Redskins. They're at the 14-yard line. Rodgers tripped over one of his blockers and then got buried immediately.
A great
Bruce Clark and Sam Mills on the tackle.
A good cutback runner Rodgers is. Everyone expecting cutback. That time Clark had the opportunity. Bruce Clark, the defensive left end, had the opportunity to chase him, but he stayed home, and then Rodgers just came right back to him, and Clark made the tackle.
Rodgers, nonetheless, has been grinding out yardage in smaller doses and has rolled up 82 yards, 24 carries. He likes to carry the ball this often, and it's about the number where they would like to have him. 24, 25 carries. There's still 12 minutes to play in this regulation time. Schrader rolling and does not find a man open. Might have deliberately chucked that into the ground because everybody was covered downfield.
Good presence of mind by Schrader. Got outside, saw that his man was covered. There's no way you want your quarterback to throw back across the field, Tim. That's a no-no down inside the 20. It's automatically going to be intercepted. Saw it, threw it in the ground, go back, re-huddle, call another play.
So again, the Saints with
now,
a defensive play.
When I was 25, I would have tried to complete it. See, there's the difference.
Well, yes, but listening to him talk to you yesterday, that's what he'd like to be doing too. Third down.
Showing blitz.
Slot formation left. He's looking left. And it hit Clark. Clark was covered by Poe, who put his hands up trying for the intercept, and he literally blocked Clark's view, and it hit him right between the eyes.
Johnny Poe had an opportunity to ramble 98 yards with absolutely no one there but the AstroTurf to tackle him. Watch, folks, bottom of your screen. Poe, man for man. Clark down inside, moves outside. Boy, this is good coverage. He breaks inside, and the ball goes right through his hands. Now there is an example of a strong arm. Schrader throws it so hard that it goes right through Poe's hands.
It'll be Mosley for the field goal try just inside the 20-yard line.
Hits the pole.
Mosley missed from 45 yards earlier. This time he misses from 29, hitting the upright.
This guy is almost Mr. Sure Shot here.
So Mark Mosley, as that ball climbs up the upright, is now 6 of 11 on the season, and he doesn't miss too many from here. We'll return to the Superdome in New Orleans after this word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Hewlett-Packard, the people who turn your business computing problem into a business computing solution. RCA technology that excites the senses.
First down for the New Orleans Saints after the missed field goal by Mosley, his second miss of the day. Reuben Mays brings it upfield for about 4, maybe 5 yards. Reuben Mays, number 36, the rookie from Washington State. 2 misses by Mosley from 45 in the second period, from 29. Here in the fourth quarter, hitting the upright and leaving the score at 14-6. And Mark Mosley down there with Jay Schrader is now 6 of 11 on the season in the field goal department. Holding that record of 23 consecutive field goals. And the big guy, Dave Butts, who went limping off earlier, back in action, showing he's plenty healthy. Buford Jordan buried by the 300-pounder from Purdue.
Left to your screen, 65. He gets in the hip pocket of the Williams, 79, the right guard, who's pulling. Butts reads it, sees the guard pull, gets in the backfield, meets him way back there for a 4-yard loss. Just an excellent play by this man.
Joel Hilgenberg, number 61, in at center now for the Saints. Wilson under pressure, another sack for the Redskins. Calvin Daniels, the second sack of the afternoon.
See the blitzing linebacker, Angelo Snipes, 59 up the middle. They've done this well. Now, this is Wilson's fault. The pocket is built up inside. And what Dave Wilson should have done, instead of moving outside of the pocket, Tim, was step up inside. That's where his protection is. He got outside of it, and naturally, you're going to be sacked.
Calvin Daniels picked up after being released by Kansas City earlier this year. And with the injuries to the Redskin linebackers, he's come in very handy. Jenkins from the 45-yard line. Good return by Kenny Jenkins. All the way to the 43-yard line of the New Orleans Saints. Ryan Hansen's punt and a good return. Brett Maxey made the tackle on Jenkins. 9:58 to play regulation time. It is Redskin ball, and they lead by 8.
chance yesterday to talk to him and ask him about his offense philosophy. He said, Terry, that today you can't guess on offense. You got to have everything designed. Our offense on every play has a deep route and a short route. And every adjustment that can be imagined in our offense, our receivers have to know it so we can eliminate mistakes and audibles at the line of scrimmage.
First down, and they're inside the 44-yard line, at the 45-yard line of the New Orleans Saints. In a reverse, Art Monk with Schrader leading the blocking. Schrader got a piece of one guy, but good thing he can throw the ball, because Monk got buried there for about a 4-yard loss by Tolles, the linebacker, and Poe, the cornerback.
James Haynes, 92, the right outside linebacker, is the man responsible for stopping the reverse. You run reverses when you have pursuit by the backside. In other words, Poe should be chasing. Haynes, 92, should be chasing. But what do? They sit there and wait. So this is not a good play. Not very well designed. Didn't catch anyone by surprise, especially Johnny Poe, 25, and Haynes, number 92.
So Schrader's blocking skills somewhat under question there against the big linebacker. A good try by the quarterback. Second down and a long 13. Quickly to the air. He's got a man on the fly, but it is well covered downfield, and the pass too far for Monk. And it was Dave Waymer running stride for stride, and Monk complaining to the official that not only was he stride for stride, he had a little grip on him.
Difference in the coverage this time, though. Waymer being beaten earlier by Clark now had the free safety Watlett coming over, and actually they were going in and out. Waymer stayed outside and Watlett came over and stayed inside, and they just ran with him. Now the tight end, Didier, 86, had beaten Mills wide open down the middle. This is the matchup, Tim, we had talked about earlier that we thought that the Redskins would try to do. Didier on Mills for big plays.
It is third down. 4 down linemen defensively for the Saints. Wing left formation. And a pretty good hole there that they get away with, but Schrader rolls away from the traffic, throws it back into the middle, but it is incomplete. Intended for Warren. That was just great desperation try, but good work by Schrader to get away from the rush.
I'll tell you, Casey Merrill, 71. I don't know what kind of shape he's in, but he did an excellent job of chasing Schrader all over the football field, and then Jay got outside, and then he threw that no-no pass, that one back across the middle that a lot of times, Tim, you're going to have intercepted, and it's going to go the other way for a touchdown. But the blitz was the thing they needed to do to put pressure on him, and they did it.
And there's Casey Merrill, number 71, the former Giant. Just a few days with Cleveland, said, I didn't think I was going to fit in there, and neither did they, and I'm glad to be here with a bunch of young players. Eric Martin back.
Oh, what a kick.
Boy, did he boom that. Steve Cox, it lands in the end zone. It'll be a touchback, 47-yarder, and it was about 47 yards up, too, here in the indoor confines of the Superdome. So the Saints, tough defensively, but not much so far offensively. Quarterback, I want to tell you. Richie Pettibone. Is that the body of a former defensive back with the Chicago Bears? Well, it's the body of a real good defensive coach, Richie Pettibone of the Redskins, and we talked about how they've been able to make real good adjustments at halftime through the first 4 games of this season. It's been a tradition of the Redskins over recent years under Pettibone. And so far, they've shut down the Saints totally here in the second half. First down. Goodlow hit out of bounds. There'll be a flag. He was hit out of bounds, and it was Darrell Green, number 28, who will get the penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. In fact, one of the flag bearers down there caught up in the traffic as well. And the gentleman who holds the yardage markers. Personal foul.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, out of bounds. 28, first down.
Now they were about a 7 or 8 yard gain on the pass itself, and they'll have a first down out at their own 40.
Well, they had a blitz on once again. The Redskins, man-for-man coverage. Green has his guy covered out there. As you see, Goodlow catches it, steps out of bounds. Actually just ran into him, gave a little shot with the right arm. Nothing major there. Penalty, but now look at this. This is what's impressive.
They went down like bowling pins over there, but it's first down at the 41-yard line of New Orleans. They trail by 8. In motion out of the backfield is Goodlow. Wilson Steps up in the pocket this time. Hits the short man, Tice, but the low pass forced him to lose his balance, so he gets about 5 yards out of it.
Back to their crossing routes, Tim. Using Tice coming underneath, playing in place of Hobie Brenner out with a broken hand. Coming underneath, good time for Wilson. 5 yards short, dropped that time, stayed in the pocket, and then threw a little too low, but he still picked up, oh gosh, 5-6 yards, not bad.
Second down, 6 to go. Washington has just 70 yards of offense in the second half. New Orleans 72. Tice again, good defensive play, and it was Curtis Jordan, the safety number 22, stopping him short of the first down. Giants in front of St. Louis 13-6. That's of interest to our viewers in Washington.
Well.
You can have that one.
The jinx carries on. 24-20 right now, fourth quarter. Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Pittsburgh winning.
Lions leading Houston in the fourth. And Cincinnati whipping up on Green Bay, and Chicago still leading Minnesota, but just 13-0. Third down and 3. If there's been a big third down play for the Saints, it's right here. 7:25 remaining regulation time. See what the Redskins do defensively, and they do well enough. On the coverage, it was Barry Wilburn intended for Goodlow, and they're forced to punt.
Goodlow had his man beaten. Now, the thing that's taken into effect here is the fact that Wilson doesn't have confidence in his offensive line. That showed. He rushed the pass. He had time to throw the football, but he's telling himself mentally, I don't have time. I need to get rid of this football. I've been sacked. Now, they blitzed once again, but they had it picked up. Wilson didn't believe his coverage and threw the football in the ground.
Wilson 15 of 25 for 120 yards.
I should say protection, not coverage. He saw the coverage, Tim.
Ken Jenkins awaiting the punt from Brian Henson. So the Redskins defensively do it again. Stop you when they have to. A little shift here by the punting unit of the Saints. And I think they ran out of time on the clock. It shows 0 up there, so by the time they got the shift done, they had delayed the game.
It won't hurt Hanson, and this guy can average. He can kick the football 50-55 yards, so 5 yards here means nothing.
Got a 44-yard average.
Offense, fourth down.
What were they up to on the shift, though?
Well, who knows? I've never seen a lot of things that are happening out here today I haven't seen, but 2 guys at the same time, who knows?
The shift by the blockers on the punting unit caused the delay.
Could have been thinking some kind of run, maybe a pass off of it, but I doubt it.
Hanson will hit it this time.
Nice kick.
Jenkins fair catch at the 12-yard line, maybe the 11. And the Redskins, with the lead, have the football again. Saints have to make something happen defensively, and Jay Schrader would like to start to move it. They haven't done much in the second half. 7:11 to play.
Seagulls, golden wine cooler is wet and is dry. Golden wine cooler, my, golden wine cooler. Me and the boys, love all the time. Golden wine cooler is wet and is dry. Golden wine cooler.
Well, those of you who are watching right now, Washington.
Tim Ryan and Terry Bradshaw here at the Superdome, where the Washington Redskins have not been able to get much going offensively, but their defense, usually reliable again here. They've simply stopped the New Orleans Saints cold. But this young Saints team has shown, I think, at least today, a lot of fortitude, a lot of zeal. They certainly haven't showed any signs of folding. And Jim Mora, the new head coach, had quite a record in the USFL. Jim Finks, the boss man here in New Orleans, thinks that he's the right man for this job as the Saints once again try to rebuild. And they've been playing the unbeaten Redskins very tough today. Griffin darts out for about a 5, maybe 6-yard pickup. Make it George Rogers. Alvin Tolles and Antonio Gibson on the stop for New Orleans.
Talking to the Joe Gibbs, he said the thing that I believe in our offense, especially in the last 8-10 minutes of a football game, is I believe we have the ability to eat the clock up, to take it and drive the length of the field. He said, I believe it and I expect it from our offense. So we'll see what happens.
Rodgers got 6 of it there. He's up to 88 yards on the day. Rodgers again on the left tackle side, running behind Jacoby. Short of the first down, but picked up another 2, maybe 3 yards.
The thing you have to be careful if you're playing defense for the Saints, Tim, is you'd be lulled to sleep. You can be very easily lulled to sleep by the fact that they're running right, running left, picking up 5 and 6 and 8 yards with Rodgers. But the thing that the Redskins have not forgotten about is Clark and Monk, and anytime they're subject to strike and strike deep with them.
Third down, less than a yard. They've got their short yardage offense against 6-down linemen for New Orleans. Rodgers has the first down. They gave him a good hold. A word or two for one of his former teammates of the Saints.
Down in the pit area, as they like to call it, the rooting area. Everyone, look at the defense. They're penetrating gaps, and then you see the fine job by the line. Bostic, McKenzie, 53 and 63 especially, driving their guy off the football, and Rodgers cutting back and picking up a big first down.
You know, nobody was on Elliott, the nose tackle, and he actually went right by Rodgers, and you could see Tony frustrated afterwards because he was already deep in the backfield, and Rodgers just ran right behind him. First down. Rodgers again. This time they close him down after a gain of 2 or 3, but the Redskins grind it out just as you described, Terry. 5:03 to play in the 4th period. It may not be the most entertaining form of winning, but you're up by 8. This is the best strategy. Use up that clock.
The thing that typifies the Saint football team this year is in the past is that they're in shape. They said they went through the hardest training camp ever. Now in the 4th quarter, the conditioning program has to pay off. It's up to them to force this running attack, stall it, and get the ball back for their offense.
That's what you saw Steve Sidwell just remonstrating with his troops there. You've got to push. You've got to get closer, close up on the line of scrimmage, and just close everything up. Don't let them get that 2 or 3 on you. And they do the job that time. No gain on the play. Rodgers stopped by Tolles, a linebacker, number 54. Well, they're up at the 33 carry mark in rushes today, the Redskins are. And when they carry the ball that many times on the ground, they have a phenomenal record, 36-0. And that means they've got to have enough time on the clock. It means their defense is doing the job. They can get that many carries for the offense, and that the offense is carrying it effectively. And use up the clock. Schrader under some pressure, and flags everywhere. Got it off to Warren. Warren scrambles for the first down yardage. Good effort by Schrader and Don Warren. But let's see what the flag is. Back there, a hold. Meanwhile, Maxey and Gibson trying to stop big Don Warren from getting to the yardage marker. We're unable to do so, but Ollie McKenzie's hold will drop the Redskins back anyway.
A gamble by the Saints that time, Tim, as they blitzed their linebackers in what they call their St. Nicholas defense, a prevent defense with six defensive backs, blitzing their guys from the outside. Good pressure up the middle, as you can see there by Casey Merrill, 71, coming from the outside. And then Schrader steps up inside, but they say 63 McKenzie was called for holding there.
Washington's 6th penalty for 60 yards. Third down, about 18 to go for a first down. So the Saints in a big defensive situation for them. And they go to Archie Griffin. Griffin picks up about 8, maybe 9 yards, but well short of the first down yardage.
Now, by that play, you can say that Gibbs thinks that his defense can hold him. Very conservative play. You got to wonder why not throw the football. Well, he says, well, if we throw it, we might get an interception, a fumble. We don't want anything negative to happen. So we'll put the pressure on our defense, which in the second half has done a good job of changing up to match with the Saints offense. So they say, hey, defense, all right, it's your turn. Get out there and win the football game for us.
Timeout on the field with 2:56 to play in regulation time. Don't forget, we're going to be going to Denver, Colorado, Mile High Stadium. The 3-1 Dallas Cowboys. Redskins fans particularly interested in that. And the unbeaten Denver Broncos atop the AFC West. And a doubleheader today on CBS Sports, Dallas at Denver.
Be interesting to see whether or not Danny White, Tim, is able to play in that game.
No, they say that he's out. That's what we've been told. That it's apparently not going to play today. So that is an advantage for Denver. 4th down, and it's going to be Steve Cox, averaging 47.7 today. Eric Martin is the deep man for the Saints. So young Jim Mora's club has got to make something happen on this series. They're running out of time, and they're down 8 points, don't forget. So they need 2 scores. Martin takes it on the fly at the 27, and Martin breaks tackles and gets over the 40 to the 42-yard line. A lot of effort on this young club, and it's evident in the locker room watching them at practice and on the field. A flag, meanwhile, downfield, a flag at the line of scrimmage. Evident that the attitude is real good under Jim Mora.
Holding, post possession, to be 1st down after a penalty.
You can see the Redskins applauding, thinking it was pre-possession, giving them an automatic 1st down, but it was post-possession.
Well, next Saturday we'll have this college football game for you. Pac-10 rivalry doesn't get any tougher than this. Michigan State and Michigan. And
George Perlis.
Right. Your old man from Pittsburgh, fine defensive coach. The Steelers now the head coach. And the Spartans take on the Wolverines of Bo Schembechler. 2:30 Eastern time. And the Spartans hoping to have Lorenzo White in action. He hurt his knee yesterday and is questionable. Well, the penalty against the Saints after the punt was caught backs them up to their 17-yard line, and a real tough break after a fine return by Eric Martin.
Yeah, a change in difference of 24 yards, Tim, which you would just associate with time, because it's going to take time to make up the 24 yards that the penalty just gave Washington Redskins.
Wilson wants to throw. They've got to make something happen. He finds a man. It's 1st down yardage. Goodlow over the 35-yard line to the 36.
There's 18 of it right there.
2:30 and counting. They move to the hurry up right away. No huddle for the Saints. Redskins spread out defensively. Wilson comes up the middle, has a man. In fact, 2 of them there nearly ran into each other, but they made the catch and a 1st down at the Redskin 46-yard line. It was Mike Jones having a fine day today, the former Viking, acquired in a deal for Wayne Wilson, and timeout is called. 2:14 on the clock.
You're going to see that Jones is going to work down 15 to 20 yards, getting good separation with the linebackers and the safeties, getting in between both, making it an easy throw for Wilson. Now one man clears out. Actually, the man that clears out is Jones, and he stops and catches a pass. I believe that ball should have been to the other man.
Rookie Kelvin Edwards, number 83, has not seen much action today. Number 6 pick out of Liberty Baptist, and he arrived in the same area where the catch was made by Jones.
Really, Edwards was a man coming across, and Jones was a man going down the middle. Jones looks like he was clearing out the safety and allowing Edwards to come underneath in their zone. And it looks like what happened, Jones saw the ball, so he stopped and he caught the pass.
Right. There's Wilson talking things over with Carl Smith and Jim Mora. Remember, they need 2 scores. The Redskins are in the driver's seat here, trying to get to 5-0. Be their best start since 1978, and they've done it today without, of course, Mel Kaufman gone for the season at linebacker. They lost Coleman and Olkowitz to injuries today, so they're in there with young linebackers, but that solid defense has done the job against the young Saints.
Gibbs has got his defense playing zones, nice and soft zones. Now the Saints have come out, get 2 big passes on them. Now the adjustment will be play man coverage. The only gamble is when you play man-to-man coverage where the defensive backs cover a receiver all over the field, there's a tendency to give up a quick touchdown, and that's what they do not want to allow.
They don't want it quick because that would give the Saints still some breathing room to try and get a second score, but things stacked in favor of Washington. And the blitz comes from the safety. What a tackle by Alvin Walton, the rookie from Kansas. Open field tackle on Wilson there as Walton just wouldn't let him off the hook. He had him all by himself, and he got him.
Wilson trying to get another play off, getting his people back, getting them set. He got under the guard that time instead of the center.
Wilson back upfield, almost intercepted off the hands of Darrell Green. Stops the clock with 2 minutes exactly. And so we have reached the 2-minute warning with a 3rd down coming up for the New Orleans Saints, and they trail by 8. Tim Ryan and Terry Bradshaw at the Superdome. It is 3rd down, 24 to go now for the New Orleans Saints. Alvin Walton's sack dropping it way back for New Orleans. The rookie and the prevent secondary of the Redskins coming up with a big play, and desperation time for New Orleans. 2 minutes away, the Washington Redskins are from a 5-0 mark atop the NFC East Division, and their best start since 1978. Looking very formidable indeed through these first 5 games of the season.
Have the Big Ben alignment up. There was a Walton blitzing.
Intended on the sideline for Mike Jones, but out of bounds. And good pressure. They at least are keeping up that consistent pass rush in this circumstance, not laying everybody back there, Terry.
What they did was they're taking Walton, a backup strong safety, moving him out wide. They lined up 3 receivers that side. It's evident that the Saints don't have an automatic blitz control system worked into their receivers. In other words, they stay on the routes that are called. Unlike most teams, when a safety blitzes, the receiver adjusts his route because of the blitz. Well, in this case, they had the Big Ben, 3 wide receivers, the Hail Mary pass. That time Walton blitzes, and when you do that and you don't have adjustments in your routes, then what happened there? A big incompletion.
Last gasp for the Saints. They've got 3 wide receivers out to the right.
Walton blitzing again.
And he's going to get to him. He hit him. Wilson released the ball, but it was pressure from Walton, unblocked. And the ball comes over to Washington with 1:51 to play. There's young Alvin Walton, 22 years of age, from Kansas.
You have to be able to make adjustments. This is a simple blitz that no one is picking up, absolutely no one. He'll be coming to the left of your screen. Wilson back, Walton, number 40, wide open. Now, Wilson knows he's going to get sacked. He has to anticipate, get rid of the football, but I don't understand 3 straight Walton blitzes, 3 straight pressures, and no one makes an adjustment to pick him up. So you got to say something's definitely wrong with the scheme that the Saints have placed in to their prevent package.
Well, you saw a somewhat baffled Dave Wilson and a happy young Walton there for the Redskins, and it's Redskin ball. 1st down with just clock time to run out, and they'll be 5-0. George Rogers gets to the 36-yard line. Rogers now with 105 yards on the day, 30 carries. And time ticking down. Timeout called.
Obviously, someone knew that Rogers needed another carry, another yard to get 100 yards. So what they're doing is running him. Normally, a guy like that, you just take your quarterback and go down on your knee.
2nd down and about 4.5 when we return after this timeout. 1:42 on the clock, and the Redskins, what a start and what excitement in Washington for these Redskins who saw the end of an era with Theismann and Riggins gone, and come out there and go with a young quarterback, Jay Schrader, very little college experience, and stepping in to replace Theismann, and then doing such a fine job at the end of last season and starting off like a grizzled vet. The ball is his. And you saw the Dolphins got beat up badly by New England today, 34-7. 1:42 remaining, regulation time. Monk in motion. Rogers again. Rogers trying to get to the 1st down marker, and he'll be real close. Victories by Washington over Philadelphia, then 3 in a row over tough AFC teams, the Raiders, Chargers, and Seahawks. And next week, it'll be the Dallas Cowboys in Washington, followed by the Cardinals, 2 of their rivals from the NFC East Division. They have a 1st down at the 31-yard line. 1:11 to go. They're celebrating in Washington already, and a lot of fans there thinking, hey, we can be in the Super Bowl this year. They like the look of this.
In their prevent, no fumble, give up quick touchdown offense, as you can see.
It's Gary Clark, who's the deep man in that formation, their fastest guy, and
put a good hand receiver back there in case there's a fumble. You expect a guy like him to be able to scoop it up and protect anyone being able to pick the ball up off the ground.
Or catch anybody if they get downfield.
Yeah, really, someone with some speed.
And he can do it. So time winding down at the Superdome, and much of the crowd is left here, but I think these Saints fans should still, it's hard to keep saying they should be optimistic because they've had, you know, so little to cheer about over the years here since this franchise came into the league. But our feeling this week being around this organization is one of optimism, and I think the changes that Moore has been willing to make in personnel, even over the first 4 games of the season, the fact that they've got such an experienced and accomplished man at Jim Finks at the helm, I think things are on an upward curve here, but they've got a long way to go to get into the class of the Washington Redskins, who will now be 5-0, and there's a big part of the reason. Joe Gibbs going to meet his counterpart Jim Mora, and the Washington Redskins for the first time since 1978, 5-0, and very, very much a big factor in the National Football League this season, as we've now got 5 games down. For Terry Bradshaw, this is Tim Ryan saying so long from the Superdome. The final score, the Redskins 14 and the Saints 6. Stay tuned for part 2 of our NFL doubleheader as the Dallas Cowboys will visit the unbeaten Denver Broncos. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League continues after these words from your local station.